think it's live. Let me double check. It's been a hot minute since I actually streamed anything on here, so whether or not OBS is working is a mystery to me.
Hope you didn't get hit by a random Windows update.
Oh, every day, I feel like. Looks good, though. Okay. Yep, everything's working good. Okay, so recap. When last we met, your party had just escaped the chaos of the Colosseum. You'd entered into a labyrinth, made your way through the labyrinth, and met up with the elder gods in their tomb beneath the Colosseum. You had a brief interaction with them. They provided some revelations about your very, very, very distant past selves. At which point you awoke to a wounded Sevian Fate with his goblin companion Scum. And he gave you some information, allowed you passage via Demonflight across the River Tartix while he turned to face Erebos, who had appeared and started to reclaim all those lost souls that he'd ignored for so long within that Colosseum. You traveled through and reached a small city of mostly returned empty souls forging masks for their trip to follow the path of Phoenix across the River Tartix to escape the underworld. You met with Sam Stricken and his bird. You had a great time with him, and you all love him very much. The best of friends, as it were. And you met with an operative within that city that provided you the Demonflight escort. You reached the River Tartix, where you met with Baelor, you would assume are aligned with Sevian Fate. And where we left off specifically was right as you climbed aboard these Baelor, allowed them to take you up into the sky over the Tartix River towards freedom from the underworld. Any questions about our recap?
Are we grabbing onto them, or are they like holding us?
It's up to you. I'd say however you wanted to have been grabbed, or if you wanted to climb up onto their backs, both is an option.
On their backs holding their horns.
They're pretty large creatures. They're about 4 times your size. A little less so for Tassus.
Sam be picking up?
Yeah, Sam was grasped, and his bird is flying alongside.
Sam was grasped by like the leg or something.
Oh my gosh.
He's in
down.
one of the creature's claws. Just grasped him around the waist. But the rest of you, do you want to be on their backs?
Yeah.
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 That's where I'll be.
Okay. So, Elwyn, you are with the original one that I linked, the purple Baelor.
Nice.
Briar, you have that shadowy purple energy Baelor who has grasped you. And then
All right.
Tacitus and Crix, you both have those armored red creatures.
The one at the very bottom.
Yeah, one of those two. There's a couple of them.
Oh, okay.
But they look similar. They're just slightly different in characteristics.
How big is the Baelor? You said it about twice our size.
It's about 4 times the size of the rest of the group. Yeah, they're very large creatures. For you, it's a little bit less because you're pretty big. You're pretty large as your Minotaur,
but still near 3
nearly
times,
that. Yeah, at least. The creatures themselves move pretty silently. I'm going to give you some imagery of the actual river that you're flying over. This is a slight overhead, just to give you an idea of what the river looks like. As you sort of take off and fly over, it changes from shade. It goes from black to blues to reds to purples and basically everything in between as the water shifts and changes. You're not flying for very long before you sort of lose sight of the shore that you had taken off of, and you can't see a shore on the opposite side. You know the river itself to be quite massive, almost ocean-like in scale. Or you can equate it to like a Great Lake. And the river is sort of a mystical gateway. The river exists both in the world of the dead and the world of the living, and in between. As you sort of fly for a short time, everything's pretty quiet. You occasionally hear just moans and shouts and screams from the river below. You can see those ethereal-like spirits sort of passing through very slowly. Every now and then you'll see something larger, some almost whale-like creatures that swim beneath the waters. You've heard legends and myths of such things, but nobody's ever really seen one. You have no idea what they are. But you can see the shadows of their hulking forms down below as you pass over the river.
I have a question.
Sure.
We're flying like perpendicular to the river, right? Like we're trying to go from one bank to the other.
Yes.
Is it like, I guess, is the quote unquote like water below like moving in any particular direction?
I'd say roll a perception for me. As you sort of gaze down and try to get an idea of what you're looking at.
Perception. Where are you? Here cool. A 7.
It's hard to read, so it's very dark, and the color of the water changes, like I'd mentioned earlier. It sort of shifts between multiple colors, and you can see those spectral spirits. You see what looks to be physical, likely future returned, trying to cross every now and then amidst the darkness of the water. But you can't tell exactly if there's a current or not. Say from that roll and what you can see, it almost looks like it's flowing in many directions simultaneously. It's almost maddening to look at and try to reason out.
Okay, cool. I can see good.
It's a little unnerving as well, because should you fall into that water, it will wipe away every form of your identity, leave you faceless and mindless, in a sense. So,
Classic river behavior.
yeah, exactly. But after a time, you start to reach a portion where you do notice islands amidst the water. It's hard to make what most of them are. Some of them are just barren, hunks of land erupting from the water. Some of them actually have ruins. Some of them are covered in trees and forest. Every now and then you can see shambling creatures of some kind sort of stumbling about within these areas. The Baelor are picking up speed at this point, getting faster. You note there's not really any essence of wind as you pass over this area, and everything is very calm and bleak. There's also no mist of any kind. Everything is bright and wide open, without anything that sort of obscures or obstructs vision. But all you can see in every direction is the river, and every now and then a handful of these islands, probably a half dozen or so, at any time you can see in different directions.
What's like if I look up into the sky, what do I see? Or like away from the river?
It's very cosmic in nature. It's very purple and blue. It resembles the water a bit, almost in an opposite sense. So the colors that are sort of taking place in the water below you, the exact opposite is happening above you. In certain places, you can also see voids, just dark voids of nothingness. If you look closely, they seem to be swirling in a sense. Every now and then, if you take some time and look up into the sky, you'll notice what look to be eyes sort of gazing about, shifting quickly, locking onto things every now and then, focusing. They don't focus you, they don't seem to focus your party or your group, but they are up there, and you can see them for several moments as they appear and look at things and then blink sort of out and never open back up. Is that covered for you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as you sort of reach these areas of these islands, you notice the Baelor starts to sort of get lower, descend a bit. They communicate through mostly just grunts and growling, very light, very low tones, but you'll see them every now and then look to one another, emit these sounds, and occasionally they'll change directions. They stay in pretty tight formation, So you can see the entire party is sort of grouped up with you, and you can all make each other out very well. And they give a few of these sort of these like low guttural growls, and they start to descend to a point where you're only probably 200 or 300 feet above the water and these islands that you're passing over. As this sort of happens and you reach the plane of descent where they stop descending and they sort of level out, you can make out those dark purple tendrils of Erebos energy that you had seen both back at the Colosseum and in most of your experiences here in the underworld. The tendrils seem to be snaking in and out of the water, traveling over top of the islands. Every now and then you see them spiral and circle and constrict around one of these underworld spirits that wander these islands and constrict them to a point where they turn completely to stone and just evaporate into dust as the tendrils move on. Every now and then they reach up out of the water towards the sky and begin grasping as if they're searching or reaching for something. They stop and almost look around, gaze around. Let's see, who am I going to do? Briar, roll perception for me.
Dirty 20.
Perfect. Elwyn, roll perception for me.
He's grabbing a drink.
Oh, of course he's. Well, let's do cricks then.
Perception,
Yes.
18.
Okay. So,
Back.
welcome back. Crix, as you gaze off to the left side of the Baylor that you're riding, you notice what looks to be a pack of winged creatures, demonic in a sense. You can't quite make them out. They're at a distance. They seem to have taken off of one of the islands and are sort of scouting about. They have golden spears, and they're followed around by flocks of what look to be ravens, some sort of dark bird. And each one of them has a group of these birds following along with them. They seem to be commanding or directing them. Briar, you as well, on the opposite side, you see a group of these things, 4 of them, flying low over the river, and also some sort of tight formation. They seem to be searching. The Baylor take notice of this as well, and they all sort of give a couple low grunts, growls. They tighten their wings so they're more of a smaller shape. And you notice that sort of orange and purplish glows, the more of magical energy about them, start to diminish and dissipate as they try to be very quiet and obviously move in tighter to the point where you're only a few feet from each other as they're flying very tightly in formation now.
Briar's gonna wave her arm and try and get Tacitus's attention and then point out what she's seeing down there.
Okay. I guess I'll look at her and see if I can see it also.
Yeah, give me another perception. See how you do.
$11.
I'd say you can spot them. They have very large wingspans. They seem to be very black or ashen colored, with bits of golden armor.
Okay. They're below us?
The group on the right is below you. The group on the left has taken off and is passing above.
Okay.
They're several hundred feet away on both sides, but you can get the idea that there's potentially more of them out scouring the area down here.
Yeah. I'm gonna I guess motion to lean in to make her profile less visible.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah.
Anybody else want to take any actions here?
I mean, I see things out in ways. From where I am playing on the Baylor, where is Sam?
He's right in front of you to the left, about 15 feet.
I'm kind of pull myself closer to the Baylor because I kind of notice that they're making themselves smaller. But I'm gonna call out to Sam and go, Sam, do you know what those things are flying out that way?
He hears you and he turns and looks towards what you're directing. He starts almost struggling within the grasp of the Baylor. He's like, "We gotta get out of here. We gotta go now." They're looking for us. We gotta go. The creature itself sort of grabs him and like squeezes the air out of him for a moment. Just in a very shut the
squeeze
fuck up,
toy?
yeah, in a very shut the fuck up kind of manner. And he
A
immediately
toy, that's what I'm looking for.
he immediately, without choice of his own, shuts the fuck up because he literally the air just squeezed right out of him. But you can see he looks very terrified.
Okay. I'm gonna keep one hand on the Baylor and the other one probably on my back where the great bow is. I'm just going to kind of keep it there in case like something happens.
Okay. So
I'm just paying attention to. Well, I've looked around and I guess I've seen everyone in the party kind of looking concerned. So I've just followed suit and tightened myself up against the Baylor and staying cautious, attentive.
okay. So the Baylor fly again a little bit lower. They seem to be obviously trying to avoid these groups. As you fly for another minute or two, you're noticing more and more of these winged creatures flying around. Groups of 4, groups of 6. Many of them have those flocks of birds traveling with them. They seem to be directing those birds about as they fly over these islands, searching for something. As you get lower, you can make out what a lot of these souls on these islands look like. They're very almost dark blue, black, and red wispy energy. The interior of their bodies seem to glow red. The inside of their mouth, their nostrils, their eyes. I'm going to give you an image here of what these guys sort of appear like. Most of them are just shambling mindlessly on these islands. Most of them are alone. Every now and then there's a small group of them, 3 or 4. And you can see those Erebos tentacles sort of grasp at them occasionally, completely turn them into stone as their bodies sort of decay and diminish to dust. This is sort of what the appearance of that would be.
That looks pleasant.
It's at least from what you the group of you know about the underworld, that is what's considered the final death. Your soul, as it exists in the underworld, can inevitably just permanently diminish to nothingness. And if Erebos so chooses, he can render that upon you as well. But for the most part, if a soul dies too many times in the underworld, the mythology is that inevitably they lose parts of themselves and they just turn to stone and inevitably dust and nothing. And that seems to be what's happening at sort of a faster rate as they're grasped by these tentacles and spotted by these winged creatures that are flying around below, looking over the river. There doesn't seem to be any real system to it. Every now and then they'll spot one. You'll see them direct their birds to fly over the creature. They circle it and swarm it for a moment. Every now and then one of these creatures lands, maybe inspects a couple of them, takes back off into the air. As far as those Erebos tentacles, they seem to be very systematically moving throughout the water, grasping at the air, as if they are obviously searching for something. And these shades or souls sometimes get in the way. That's what appears to be happening.
Are the tentacles seen in that second picture? Is it like the black smoke, or is it something else?
That's something else. That's just the body sort of losing itself. But I do have, actually, if you scroll up to what I posted in our last session of that guy sort of being strangled by that whip of Erebos, those black tentacles with a very like purple and pinkish cosmic energy shifting between. That's exactly what they appear like, except in great number. Different sizes. Some of them are thin and slithering along like snakes. Others are much larger. 3-4 feet wide and across with a pretty wide circumference, and they travel out of the water and whip at the air.
Girthy.
The Baylors fly for a while, another 3 or 4 minutes. You avoid any contact for that time, but they stop immediately, almost jarringly so, as they approach an island, and there's a massive creature sort of slowly moving over the piece of this island. I'm going to give you an image. It's just like dark black and purple winged creature. He has glowing energy emitting from his body in different places. His arms are sort of reaching out and directing these other smaller creatures, which you can get a better view of now. I'm going to give you an image of them. They look similar to the larger one, but the larger one is obviously grander and has much more of a magical, cosmic nature to him. The other creatures do seem more physical, with large black wingspans, red interiors on their wings, gold armor, and most of them carry long golden spears as well. The Baelor stop for a moment and just sort of begin communicating with each other in the same manner, those like guttural growls. Any of you want to do anything here?
We've stopped, right?
You stopped completely. The Baelor are just slowly hovering at the moment. It seems like they're trying to decide what to do about this.
Did we ever establish whether we were able to communicate with the Baelors?
You haven't tried.
Hmm. I'm gonna like talk to the one whose back I'm riding and saying, "Is this a normal occurrence? These things?"
It's sort of, it looks back at you for a moment and very angrily growls at you in a language that you don't understand. Unless, what are your languages, actually, I should ask?
I only know Celestial and Common.
Yeah, you do not understand it.
But
it seems angry that you even attempted to talk to it.
I'm gonna shoot a glance over at Tacitus. Just a confused glance.
I think I'm going to shrug.
Cricks your
I'll
prior.
shrug and then hold a finger up to my mouth, assuming that like that universal sign for "shut up" is still a thing.
Off to the side, like Sam is struggling. His bird is sort of circling you. His large purple parrot is just circling, very quietly and slowly. But he's like struggling to get out, like he's panicking almost. It looks like. Briar and Crick, did you want to do anything?
Nope. Just keeping quiet, keeping a low profile, trusting that these guys know what they're doing more than we do.
Okay. And Crix?
I'm just keeping an eye out, more or less. I'm not saying anything to anyone.
Roll perception.
Okay. I was gonna ask you if the bird seems like it's really struggling.
No, the bird seems fine. It's just sort of circling. Doesn't seem panicked at all.
14.
Okay. So as you're sort of what's that?
That's a good rolls overall for the group today.
Yeah, not great so far. But you do, while you're sort of sitting there, you're checking around, keeping an eye out as these Baelor are also sort of very hurriedly glancing about and communicating with each other. They seem to be trying to formulate a path or a way around this. Crix, you see a couple forms very quickly fly from behind you up into the air above. Looking back as you sort of get the image in your peripheral, you don't see exactly what it was, but something was very close, it felt like.
Looking in the direction that it went, do I spot them?
No, looking back, you just see the darkness of the water below you. The island is in front of you off to the left a good ways away, where that sort of massive creature is slowly looming over and commanding his forces. But looking back in the direction that you saw the movement, you don't see anything at all.
Can I look around as well?
Yeah, perception.
25.
Damn.
So yeah, you hunker down and you try to get your eyes. You sort of see Crick stop and look about, and you follow the gaze and direction the Baelor are looking as well. And for a moment, you see two of those winged creatures seem like they look almost directly at you, make direct eye contact before they shift and move down towards the water.
How loud do we have to speak to each other?
Loud enough. There's about 10 to 15 feet between of like empty space between where you are on the Baelor. They are sort of tightly huddled, so you'd have to speak a little louder than standard volume.
Okay. I'm gonna try speaking to the Baylor instead, keeping my voice down that I'm on, and just say, I think we've been noticed.
In common,
In common.
it looks back and it growls, and it sort of spins around for a moment, looking in multiple directions. As it does, you can see those same creatures that you'd spotted that made eye contact with you. Again, make direct eye contact, sort of watching and tracking. They're moving below on the surface of the water almost.
I'm gonna make one whistle and see if I can get anybody's attention and point.
Okay. Yeah, you all clearly hear the whistle from Briar's Thresh.
I'll look over at Briar.
Oh,
I am
where is she
pointing at the
pointing?
things staring at us.
They're sort of moving in a slow flight pattern. There's two of them moving down below on the water. You hear a couple very almost fearsome growls from the Baylor in the front as well, the ones carrying Tacitus and Elwyn. And they're reaching for their weapons.
Well, figured we wouldn't get a smooth ride.
What would you guys like to do here? You just want to hang on and hope for the best, or do you want to take any actions at this moment?
Right below us is water still, right?
Yeah, it's the water. The closest terrain would be the island that creature is looming over. That's a few hundred feet off, out in front of you and to the left.
How far away is the next closest?
You can just barely make one out at a very long distance. You can assume thousands of feet.
Okay.
It's sort of hard to make out exact distances on the water since things are very strange down here, but it looks very far away. Like it would take you guys quite some time flying at full speed to reach it.
I'm just gonna precast mage armor on myself.
Okay.
And just ready myself for anything.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll have
Um,
one dagger drawn.
yeah, I'm not gonna do anything in particular right now.
And Crix? You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so as a group of you sort of stock up and get ready for what looks like it's going to be fighting, you start to notice more of these creatures. They fly a little bit closer. They obviously notice the group of you. The Baylor are sort of in an almost back-to-back formation now, and it looks as if you're being surrounded. There's a good many of these creatures. One of them gets kind of close. He looks almost a little more decrepit than some of the other ones. Flies within like maybe 30 feet, stops, glares at the group of you, gives almost like a shrieking howl for a moment, then flies off to rejoin another group. The Baylor at this point all grabs at their weapons. They all have swords and they have whips. They ignite their whips. 3 of them with that orange flame. Briar, yours has that purple flame to it. The wings also sort of erupt in flame, and you can feel the heat of it. It's not damaging, it's not hurting to you, but you can feel the heat of both their weapons and their wings as they are clearly getting ready to fight these creatures. We're still just holding on and hoping for the best.
So of the things that we've seen, what kind of volumes are we talking about here?
I'd say gazing around now, you can see they're in groups of between 2 and 6. Glancing about and sort of trying to get an idea of how many there are. It's hard to say because they're moving very quickly, but you can guess that there's maybe 20 or 30 plus that are obviously circling you and surrounding you, with quite a few more on the outskirts.
It obviously didn't respond intelligently, but it seemed to at least grasp the concept of what I said before.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask my Baylor, can we outpace them?
It gives a very low growl and continues to grasp its weapons tighter, shaking its head
Was
very
I
slowly. No.
Okay.
I don't suppose anybody speaks Baylor.
Demonic?
Yeah.
Crick just kind of like leans into his Baylor and just quietly goes, "We fighting?"
Judging
It's-
by the drawn weapons.
It gives a snort, and a bit of smoke puffs out of its nostrils as it does so. And yeah, it sort of swings its whip around, cracks it for a moment. It doesn't seem to be focusing on you, but it clearly looks like it's ready to fight. And looking about as well and sort of getting an estimation of what's going on, these things are angling to attack, it would seem.
Alwyn has never fought on Demon back before, so he's kind of like sitting there wondering what the hell he's supposed to be doing in this situation. But just gonna prepare to assist with long range attacks.
Okay.
So I'd say when the first, because judging that the fact that our Baylors all look like they're about to jump into combat, how far away are the nearest of these things?
The closest of them seem to get within 30 feet or so. They don't stay close. They seem to be almost antagonizing the Baylor, flying close and then pulling back out.
Okay.
But the longer that they sort of hold up and prepare, they don't seem to be wanting to attack these things. And the longer that they don't attack, you can see the more and more of these sort of winged demons grouping up and preparing.
Okay, I'm going to say that as soon as the first clash begins, I'm going to target whichever of these creatures first attacks. I'll hit them with an Eldritch Blast.
How obvious is it, I guess, to me specifically, that more of these winged creatures are like arriving? Since my perception rolls have been awful.
I'd say it's obvious enough that the numbers are increasing. That the more time is taking, you can see more and more groups sort of circling below, above, around. It wouldn't take great perception to realize that the numbers are increasing. I'd say you can't really get an idea of how many exactly, but you know that there's more and more that are slowly showing up.
If I notice that, I'm gonna say to my Baylor, we strike first, or we should strike first.
Roll persuasion.
Huh? 20?
Nat 20 or?
No, just dirty
Okay.
20. It was a 19 plus 1.
Okay. It obviously acknowledges what you say. It turns its head and listens to you. Gives a couple of sort of grunts and growls to the other Baylor, who all slowly nod. The one that you're riding on the back of, Tacitus, you see him clearly tracking one of these creatures as it starts to fly into close and another sort of antagonistic approach. And once it reaches within range, he very quickly cracks his whip, wraps it around the waist of the creature, and then throws it down towards the water below, where it sort of crashes below the surface. At this point, I need everybody to roll initiative.
Oh boy. 9? My rolls are I got one good roll today so far.
I don't even want to
19.
talk. I don't even want to talk about it.
I got a dirty 20.
Okay.
3.
Briar?
19.
19. Okay, let's see. And I'd say since you were holding the Eldritch Blast, Elwyn, you can roll an attack against one of these creatures as well, as that whip sort of cracked out before we start.
That's a 18 to hit.
Okay, that's hits.
I forget if I just roll one time for all 3 beams or if it's 3 times. I think it's just one time. I can't remember.
Isn't it per?
What are you?
Oh
what are
yeah, there. It's a separate attack roll.
Eldritch
each game.
Blast?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So That was the first one. And then the second one is a 16 to hit.
That's also a hit.
And the third one is a 27 to hit.
Yep, all three.
Okay. I'll target all three at the same target.
Okay.
Damage. It's gonna be 11 for the first beam. And then 13 for the second beam. And 9 for the third beam.
Perfect. Okay. So it does pretty considerable damage. You can see him sort of get burned and scarred from the shots and spin off in the distance. Maintains his flight, but it is very obviously pretty badly wounded, so you can sort of get an idea of how tough these guys are. So after that whip attack and Elwyn fires off his blast, all of these creatures sort of simultaneously engage. The Balors begin having to defend themselves with their whips. Their whips are cracking out at the air. What looks to be maybe a dozen or 2 dozen start to immediately dive in from above, from below, or from the sides, attempting to make strikes at these Balor. Elwyn, the Balor that you're riding, takes strikes from 2 creatures. He's able to sort of deftly evade and puts himself into a dive. You begin moving very quickly down towards the water as he's trying to avoid attacks. He picks himself up and levels out very scarily as you get pretty close to almost just touching the surface of that water. But he throws his wings back and propels himself back up into the air. But he takes a couple attacks, and you can feel him sort of take the damage and keep moving. Briar, the Balor that you're riding on, takes the worst of it. He seems like he got hit 4 times as he sort of struggled to get himself prepared for this fight. He cracks his whip around in a couple directions, doesn't make contact with any of these creatures as they sort of deftly move about and avoid his swings. Attempts to make an attack with his blade as he gets struck multiple times. Then he starts to blow those wings up into the air and take off, start to fly higher. Tacitus, your Balor is hit several times, but it looks like he's able to just resist the damage. It doesn't seem to phase him very much at all. And he makes a couple retaliatory attacks that strike a couple of these creatures down. One is a whip strike that almost cleaves the creature completely in half. Then he whips it around to the opposite side and takes the wing off of another one as it goes spiraling down into the water. Crix, your Balor immediately takes damage from a couple of these creatures. Doesn't seem to affect him very much. But one of them almost careens clear into him, just flies, tries to sort of check him in the chest. And he's able to swing his sword and strike the creature, doing pretty considerable damage. And he starts to move off in the same direction as Tacitus as Balor, and the two of you stay pretty tight. The one carrying Sam sort of spins off in the distance. You can't see exactly where he's going, but he's moving towards the island, it appears. Sam is just panicking and struggling, making it difficult for him to keep himself in flight.
Of course it is.
So that brings us to Elwyn. Where you sort of left off, you dove towards the water, wings sort of thrust back, powered you above, and started moving at a level pace very close to the water. You've got 6 of these demons within range that are sort of flying above and alongside your Balor that seem to be waiting for opportunities to attack.
Would you say they are within a 60-foot cone?
3 of them are.
3 of them are within a 60-foot cone?
Yep,
Are
on
any of
the
my
right-hand
allies
side.
in that? Are any of my allies in that same cone?
No, you guys are a good distance away from each other. Now, these Balors seem to have spread out to avoid these enemies ganging up on them.
So there's 3 on one side and 3 on the other side of me? Is that how
There's
it's laid out?
3 to the right, 2 above you, and 1 to the left that are like within a decent range of you. There's many more that are at a distance, but those are the ones that are closest to you that you can reach.
Oh, if I could move in a way that would let me hit all of them, that would be so cool. But
no, there's no angle that you can hit all of them. Yes.
Maybe I just take 3 of them.
Okay.
It would be a big spell, but I have a couple of spell slots to spare. Okay, I've got 3 spell slots. What am I going to do with them besides this?
You have the power to communicate with the Balor as well, so if you want to try and convince him of movement, you can. Otherwise, he's just going to sort of move on his own accord.
There was 3 to the right of me, and there was 2 above.
Yes.
1 to the left.
Yep, within range. There's again, there's several more at larger distances.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think if my Baylor was to maneuver in a way that the two above and the three to the right were in the same cone. I don't know if that would make sense.
Not at the range of that cone. No, there wouldn't be a way to
Okay.
like move to angle them all in the same direction. They're a good distance away from each other.
Okay, I'm just gonna burn the spell on three of them then. Three to the right. If they're within a 60-foot cone, I'm just gonna hit them with Cone of Cold.
Okay.
So they all need to do a Constitution saving throw, DC 17.
That's 2 failures on the saves.
Okay. 8d8 cold damage. I need assistance to roll that because that's a lot of dice.
Okay.
And I'm not rolling 20 dice. I mean 8 dice. D&D dice roller. Let's see if I can find something that'll work. 8 D8.
I thought you for a second. I thought you said
Modifiers.
8 damage. I was like, you rolled 8 ones.
That would be so tragic. What?
Nothing. I was gonna say if you went between 8 and 64 and you got 8, that is abysmal.
Quite
That would
terrible.
be so sad. I rolled 46 cold damage.
46.
Yeah, so any of them that failed take the full 46 cold damage and half as much damage for the ones that saved.
Excellent. Okay, so yeah, the group of you within range there, you can sort of see the flash of the cone of cold that Elwyn fires off. 2 of those creatures are completely just crispy with that frost magic, almost completely frozen, their wings unable to flap any longer, and they crash and careen down into the water below. The other
It says
one,
a creature killed by the spell becomes a frozen statue until it thaws.
yeah,
So it's
they
just freeze the statues.
completely freeze as they go crashing down into the river, the Tartix below. The other one is resistant. He holds back and is able to survive the shot. You can see it impact him, though. He's sort of pushed back a little bit of a ways. Anything else, Ellen?
Nope. That's gonna be it.
Okay. So the Baylor uses the remainder of his movement. He gives almost like a bit of a corkscrew that you have to hold on quite tightly to maintain your grip on his back, but you're able to do so pretty easily. And he begins to pull up. You notice that you are also getting closer to the island. Which brings us to Briar. So Briar, your Baylor took off into the sky a bit higher. You saw the rest of the party also sort of their Baylor scatter in different directions, obviously trying to split these things up as best they can. From your perspective, you've got a pretty good view of the battlefield, this aerial battlefield, as it were.
Okay.
You clearly saw Sam Stricken's Baylor struggling with him fly off towards the island. Elwyn's is pretty close there. You watched him blast that cone of cold, take a couple of those creatures out. Tacitus and Crix are both pretty close to you, a little lower. Looking off to the left down below, you see Tacitus about 60 feet in the distance below and to the left, and then Crix is almost directly below you as his Baylor is angling for attacks with his whip. Around you, you've got 9 of these creatures, all in tight formation.
Cool.
What would you like to do?
Because I don't have a lot of ranged capabilities.
Time to throw a dagger.
I'm not throwing this and risking it not coming back.
Again, you can make requests to the creature too. You know that you can communicate with it on a level it'll understand you. So if you want it to angle you for a specific type of attack, you can. Whether or not it's going
Okay.
to listen is entirely different, but you can attempt.
I guess I'll. Well, actually, first, so of the 9 things around me, are they all kind of like the same thing? Does any of them look more formidable than the others?
No, they're all those same sort of just dark-skinned, gold-armored creatures. They all look very similar.
Okay.
The only ones that you spot that look different are the more decayed ones. That last image that I showed, they are a lot creepier, more I wouldn't say zombie-like, but more like Nosferatu-esque, I'd call it.
Okay. So I'll tell the Baylor I can attack any that come within striking range if you can get me there.
Okay. Gives a growl very quickly, pivots, and starts to turn towards the smaller pack. There's a pack of 6, and then there's a pack of 3. He pulls off towards the pack of 3, which angles you a bit higher. You raise about 15 feet in the air, and he swings you pretty close below. So if you wanted to attack them, he can start to swing you below within like a 5 to 10 foot range.
Yeah, let's try attacking with the new dagger.
Ooh, okay. Second, let me get info up on that. So it's the pair of daggers,
Yes.
and as you sort of you want to grasp just one of them, right? The other one's still
I
sheathed?
assume I need to hold on to the Baylor with the other hand, so yes.
Yeah. You'd want to at least try to hold on,
Yes.
unless you got super good leg strength.
No.
So it's going to be a +6 to hit, and
Okay.
you can attack with this blade. You can attack twice.
Okay. And then do I add my normal dex to that, or is
Yep.
it just
Yep.
+6?
No, normal melee plus whatever you normally roll, and then you add an additional 6 for the weapon.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. So 26 for the first hit.
Okay.
And then 24 for the second.
Okay, 2 hits. As you swing, you still hear that sort of reverberating hum from the blades as they cast those cherry blossom petals with that very cosmic energy that sort of twirls inside those petals as well. Roll, since you're only using one blade, roll 2d6.
Okay. And I presume I don't get sneak.
You don't get sneak. Not in this situation.
I
8.
tried that.
Or do you add anything to? Do I add my dex?
Yep, I think you're.
So 12.
12. Okay. So as you make contact, you see it do pretty considerable damage, and it makes contact. You notice it sort of erupt in those blossom petals that shift and fly out almost like kunai. Like they fly out and they pierce like blades the other creatures around, doing damage as well.
Ooh. And then the second one was 9.
Okay. Yeah, same on that second strike. The blades themselves seem to do pretty considerable damage. They cut into the flesh of these creatures, almost like butter. You see them cut clean through and do very significant damage, cause wounds. One of them gets clipped in the wing and he starts to spiral off down towards the water. You're a good ways up, so you don't see exactly whether or not he crashes or falls down below. But you know that you did pretty good damage against these guys as the Baylor finishes using his movement to sort of pull away and get about 20 feet from them.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope. That's all I can do.
Okay. That brings us to Tacitus. So Tacitus, you also saw Elwyn sort of drift off towards the island, engaging the enemies out there with a cone of cold. You saw Sam Stricken as well, sort of struggling and causing problems for his Baylor off in the distance towards the island. You just witnessed Briar sort of make those attacks above with those cherry blossom-like petals sort of cascading out and striking some of these creatures. And you've got Crix pretty close to you, within about 30 feet as well on his Baylor.
Okay.
Your Baylor is leveled out horizontally, and it seems to be moving directly towards a group of enemies in front of you with intention to attack them. There are 6 of them in a very tight flight pattern.
Okay. While I'm on the Baylor, would I need both like at least one hand on it to remain steady, or can I like use my like legs to grip onto any part of him?
You know, as a Minotaur, you've got pretty incredible strength, so you can definitely, I'd say, You can hold the axe in one hand, and when you're ready to swing, you can grip yourself onto that creature and use both hands to make the swing before you sort of
Okay.
grasp back on to maintain hold.
Okay. I which hand, I guess, is the Baylor wielding its whip or sword in?
The whip is in the right hand, and the blade is in the left.
Okay. I'll tell it. I'll hit the ones on the right.
Okay. Okay. So he cruises in. You see him sort of flap his wings very forcefully, and you feel a burst of speed come on. Gets very, very close within range, right underneath the pack of them. He both attacks with his blade and his whip. What did you want to do here?
I'll swing it, I guess, whichever one's closest.
Using your new axe?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, roll your standard melee attack and add an additional 6.
So roll what I would normally roll and then add 6, so I would add
Yes.
plus 14.
Yes.
That is 29 to hit.
That's a hit. You're going to roll 5d8 and add an additional 4 damage on top of whatever your standard is as well.
Okay, 1 second.
Yep.
Damn.
It's a big axe.
That is a
So
pickaxe.
that was plus 14 attack, and then what was the damage?
5d8, and you're going to add an additional 4 damage on top of your standard.
Okay. How the fuck do I even 1, 2, 4, 5? That's 18 plus 4, 22 plus 4, 26.
Okay. So the blade itself, as you swing it for the first time, really with intent to harm, you see that green cosmic-like energy cast almost like a blurry fog behind the weapon as it travels through the air. You make direct contact with this creature, striking it in the back, doing significant damage. Drives it off through the air, and it actually connects with another creature on the left, sort of spiraling them out of control as the Baylor's whip makes contact, finishing the one that you attacked off, sending it just sort of scorched and charred and wounded, spiraling down towards the water below. And it makes a couple of blade attacks at the opposite on the left as well. Stays angled below these creatures. It can't move any further, so you're still within about 5 to 10 feet from the remainder of the group. Is that your turn? You good?
I will do another attack, I guess, since I get 2
Yep.
per action.
Good. There's still several that you can hit. Do you want to strike at the one that was wounded with the blade from the Baylor?
Yes.
Okay.
Fitting them out. That's a 30 to hit.
That's a hit.
That's 13 plus 8, 21 damage.
Okay. So yeah, as it connects, it cuts through and finishes the creature off. You're able to sever one of the wings and cut pretty clear into its chest as the axe pulls back and the creature goes spiraling down, obviously dead, towards the water. Anything else, Tacitus?
That is all for me.
Okay. Again, you guys hold position sort of with the remainder of those creatures as we move over to Crix. So Crix, you're pretty close to Tacitus. You just watched him sort of strike those creatures just following Briar's attack above you. Same situation as I described for everybody else. You watched Elwyn sort of drift off towards the island with Sam stricken a good ways off in front of him as well. What would you like to do?
Okay, so positionally, how far down towards the water are we?
Taking a quick glance at it, you're moving pretty quick on the back of this Baylor, sort of keeping pace with the one that Tacitus is on as well.
Oh, I should have done the radiant damage. I forgot about that.
I mean, it died, so. But yeah, keep that in mind.
That it's in everything every time now.
Yeah. But yeah, Crix, just sort of glancing down quickly, the water, you look to be about 400 feet above. It's hard to say with the movements, but there's several groups of those creatures down below that are obviously sort of gazing up at your group. A different Baylor obviously intending to attack. The pack that Tacitus had just cut a little bit off of is out in front of you, about 60 feet. The Baylor had sort of rushed forward to meet them within melee. Aside from that, with at least at range with that bow, you've got at least 20 of these things that you can target. You can hit the ones above.
I
Yeah.
get that. There's a reason I'm asking for what's below. How many are there below us at the moment?
Below, I'd say within a range of 120 feet. To give you an idea, you've got 22.
22 of them?
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
Oh,
I I kind of lean over. I whisper to the Baylor, you know, they once made us the champions of the arena. You know, they put me in a Yale brick as a crafty asshole who is very, very good. As I'm saying this, I'm holding my hand down towards the group of these 22, and I just go, because I do things like this. I cast Control Winds. 100-foot cube is going to appear down below, and I'm going to do a downdraft. So how many of those creatures I can hit in that cube, I need them to make a strength roll versus 17, or they're going to be knocked prone.
Okay. Okay.
Classic Crix behavior right there.
Downdraft. All right, here we go. Let's throw a shitload of dice.
Knock them right into the river.
I'm gonna do 10 at a time.
Yeah, so they're just straight strength rolls.
Okay. That's that. Is that 10d20? Hold on. 6, 7, 8. Yes, okay.
Oh boy.
I just had 10 failures. The next 10, none of them above 10. Okay, here we go.
Just call their numbers.
There's a reason I wanted to know how far away from that water we are, because that.
So 16 of the 22 failed. Actually, there's 20 of them. 16 of the 20 that were in that range failed.
It's so beautiful.
So you cast it down. Immediately, the wind pushes at them. Most of them weren't even looking in your direction. They were focused either on Elwyn or on Sam Stricken or and the other Baylor. But the ones that were looking up got just blasted in the face by this force of wind. The entire group of them are knocked prone, and they were at distance enough, I'd say, with the fall speed that all of them plummeted into the water below. Several of them sort of getting grasped by those Erebos-like tentacles that are whipping through the water below. And I'd say as you look down and cast that spell down at the water, you can now see those tentacles sort of increasing in proximity and increasing in size, and the group of them are whipping pretty wildly out of the water and up towards the air.
Okay.
Oh my god.
The other thing I should note too with that spell, that current is going to stay there. So if they're flying straight, they're going to fly into it.
Okay.
And that causes immediately for them to make the saves too. So with that, I just smile casually and just kind of yell downwards, "Feet up!"
Jesus.
And that'd be my turn.
Okay. God damn. Okay. So let me reorganize my combat sheet here. I need to make sure I mark all these guys as dead.
I have to say that is the best use of a level 5 spell I've ever done.
I mean, I'd be a bit horrified if you had a better use than a 16 like 16 kills.
Yeah.
I mean, the wall of stone was pretty impressive with the spiders holding them off.
Yeah, that was a solid
Yeah.
spell. But that
True.
was pretty crazy. So yeah,
Ridiculous.
the
Dude, I've
remaining
been
creatures, a couple of them were within pretty good range of that. So I'm gonna see. They bowl a 10 and a 2. So two of the creatures, you see, they start to angle up and try to avoid the cube, seeing a lot of their allies having get thrust into it and down towards the water, but they were unable to, so they get pushed down by the winds, forced into the water below. But the remaining creatures begin to make attacks. Elwyn, as you're traveling off, you see several creatures strike at the Baelor carrying Sam Stricken. You can see his purple parrot as well, like avoiding attacks. The creatures are trying to strike at the parrot as well. Sam himself is struggling so much that he's causing the Baelor a lot of issues as it tries to swing its whip and swing its blade. It's getting dragged and pulled around by the struggles of Sam and is unable to make contact with its attacks. Simultaneously, it's taking damage. Looks like it takes damage from 6 separate creatures and is starting to become wounded. It's moving towards the island as best it can. Elwyn, what's your AC, Elwyn?
Currently, it's hold on, Mage Armor. 13 plus my dex, 15 right
Okay.
now.
So from the side, there's a storm of those birds, those sort of dark raven or crow-like birds that are following these creatures around, that pass directly through the space that you and your Baelor are moving. Striking the Baelor, striking you. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Cool. 18 plus 3, 21.
Okay. So you get slashed by these creatures as they sort of pass around and over you. You're able to resist most of the damage as you sort of deflect them away, but you take 16 points of damage.
Ow.
And the Baelor as well gets pretty cut up as the sort of flock of birds moves through and away. Briar, what's your AC?
It is 16.
Okay, the creatures that you would engage with, the remainder move back. A couple of them engage the Baelor directly, sort of striking at him. He seems to avoid the damage. He spins off and moves off to the side as a couple of them make attacks at you, just with these massive black claws. One of them misses, the other one makes contact. You take 14 points of damage, and you can feel the sort of necrotic sting of the cuts as they slash into you. The creatures sort of pass in, slash, attack, and move off.
Does that trigger opportunity attacks?
No, not in this case.
This has been the perfect time for me to have used armor if I had this up myself.
It really
Save
would have been.
myself. Save myself.
Tacitus, the creatures above that you had just engaged with, they all make attacks down at you and the Baelor that you're riding on. What's your AC?
16.
Okay. You're able to resist the damage on all except for one. One creature does manage to strike true and does, with its claws, 13 points of damage. Necrotic. You can sort of feel the sting of it as it makes contact with you. The Baelor itself is also resisting most of the attacks, but he does pull off. You hear him sort of grunt and growl, and he begins moving towards the island as well. Crix, what's your AC?
16.
Okay. Two of the creatures swoop in and make claw attacks against you. You're able to avoid them. As they pull out, there's another storm of those birds, the same ones that just struck Elwyn off in the distance, blow through the space that you and your Baelor are occupying. I need you to make a Constitution saving throw.
Concentration.
Constitution.
15. Behind off leaves 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. It is quite the vile attack, as all of these birds almost feels like almost every single one of them makes contact with you and cuts into you. You take 32 points of damage.
What kind?
Half of it is slashing, the other is psychic.
Okay, yeah. 32. Shit.
The birds pass completely through you. You can feel the Baylor that you're riding on as well take pretty significant damage, as he also sort of growls and grunts in communication with the other Baylor in the air. They're much louder now as they're trying to communicate with each other within this fight. And he moves off, tries to pull off towards the island following Elwyn and Sam. That massive creature on the island now has turned its gaze in your direction. That one with that glowing, almost golden energy that I had linked, its wings just massive and clawed, looming over the island, seems to have now slowly turned its attention and is gazing at the group of you. It blasts this searing light off into the air at the entire party. The Baylor, all of you are connected with this blast. I need you all to make additional Constitution saving throws.
I guess anyone close to me would be able to get my bonus, but otherwise.
It'd be Crix.
23.
So what had happened was I definitely rolled a solid 1
That one.
plus 3, so realistically we're talking 4.
Gotcha.
Shit.
Oh, no.
Okay.
If I die here, just remember me fondly, everyone.
What was yours, Briar?
Oh,
13.
And Crix, did I get yours?
You want me to make another one?
Yeah, it's an additional one for the blast from this massive creature, this glowing, blinding golden
What
blast
is
of light.
this, a con?
It's a con save, yeah.
Fucking hell, mate.
You have
Yeah,
bonus
natural
from
20.
Oh, you don't need it.
21.
Okay. So
that should have been me.
It's off and off, yeah, baby.
so this massive eruption of light almost passes the group of you in a wave. You notice all of the creatures that are flying sort of cast their wings over their faces to shield themselves as the blast is going off. The rest of you, Briar, you are struck directly, almost looking directly at it as it hits and it blinds you.
Cool.
So just for a round, you lose your vision here. This next round, you're just seeing just bright spots in the air. You can have trouble seeing anything at all. What was your roll, Tacitus?
A 23,
20, right.
I think.
Yeah. Okay. So you're good. You sort of are able to lift your arm and shield yourself as this sort of blasts through. You feel the heat of it sort of try to scorch and damage you as well, but you're resistant to it. Crix, again, you're able to cover as well and avoid the blinding and damage of the strike. Elwyn.
That's me.
I also rolled a nat 1 on the save for your Baylor.
Oh god, we're both dead.
No.
So, the group of you hear that sort of shouting howl of the Baylor as it is immediately blinded by the blast from this massive creature. Elwyn, you as well, you're shocked by the shout, and you're just looking almost directly at this thing as it blinds you completely. You feel like you lose hold of the Baylor, and you're not even sure if you're grasped onto it anymore. The rest of the party, what you see is the Baylor and Elwyn, both having been separated now, spiraling down towards the island below. They're just sort of reaching the edge of it, but it's a good ways down. And that brings us back to Elwyn.
Yikes.
So you're blind at the moment. You can't see anything, and it feels like you are falling through the air. What would you like to do?
Okay. I can't see.
Nope.
I don't feel the Baylor anymore.
You don't feel the barrel. You feel like you almost lost your grasp at some point in there. You sort of get the sense that it's still close nearby somehow, but you are no longer holding onto it. And just to be clear, when you're blinded, you automatically fail any ability checks that require sight, and things that are attacking you have advantage.
Okay. Well, none of that is good. Okay. I think the best I can do right now. Okay, that's a bonus action, so that's good. This is a very not good situation. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my elemental gift of flight.
Okay.
And just sort of like stop myself in the air. So that's that part.
Okay.
And then I'm going to cast Armor of Agathis on myself.
Okay.
And just sort of like curl up in a defensive position until I can see again.
So you
Yes,
just went
the defensive fetal position.
the defensive,
Yeah.
but your wings are still
Yeah.
flapping. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just in the air. Yeah, and just
Okay.
legs up to my chest and just in the air, fetal position.
Okay.
as I cast Armor of Agathis on myself, giving myself a little bit of defense. And that's it.
Okay. So that brings
Hope
us
for the
around over the best. Brings us around to Briar. So you just witnessed that basically. Oh no, you didn't. You're blind. You didn't witness that.
Yeah, I sure am.
You failed your check. So yeah, you heard the chaos of things that are going on, but you are also blinded at the moment. You still are held with your Baylor. You can feel him moving about. It feels like he's maybe striking at something, trying to attack, but you're not sure. What would you like to do?
Am I like, if I tried to attack, am I conscious enough of like the Baylor to not attack it?
I mean, yeah, you're holding on to it. So, but
Cool.
otherwise, you'd just be basically like slashing and
Yeah,
in
it would
air.
just be a blind swing.
Okay.
But it's either that or do nothing for a round.
Okay, so you have disadvantage. But yeah, go ahead and make your swing.
Well, luckily it's a plus 15, so 22.
Okay.
And I am so bad at math. And a 20, no. I'm
what are your numbers? What do you got here?
What are the
Here's
numbers?
Sorry,
do you need assistance?
so 22 plus is not. I fucked myself over on the first one. I got a 13 and an 8 for the 2 rolls.
Okay.
With disadvantage, and
So you got
24. 24 for the second. You have a plus 15, correct?
yeah, plus 15, 8,
Okay.
and 13. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, both are hits. So
Cool.
you swing blindly at the air, but your blade does manage to make contact with a couple of those creatures that you knew were up there, at least nearby.
And so I roll a 2d6 twice.
Yes. I believe that's right for your weapon. No. Well, yes, sorry. 2d6.
Because it's just the one. Yeah.
Yep.
11 and 12.
Okay. So you feel the blade make contact. You can hear the sort of slashing of those petals as they erupt from the strikes once again. Not sure exactly if you did anything positive, but you know that you hit something and did damage.
Cool. Fantastic.
Is that your turn?
That's my turn.
Okay. So after you make your attacks, you feel the Baylor sort of whip off to the side, change directions, it feels like, and begin flapping its wings more ferociously as if it's trying to increase speed.
I am hanging on tight.
Brings us to Tacitus. So you clearly see what happened with Elwyn, who's sort of got thrown off the back of his Baylor. His Baylor is sort of went into a bit of a spiral. It fell a good 20 or 30 feet below Elwyn before it righted itself, but is clearly rubbing at its eyes and struggling to see, sort of cracking its whip in different directions, trying to make contact with anything, but not doing so. Elwyn was thrown off to the side. You saw him sprout his wings and sort of steady himself, and sort of try to defend himself with a spell cast, but he's out in the air and in the open with quite a few creatures surrounding him. Your Baylor also resisted, did not get blinded by the attack, is holding position right now, making attacks at that same group that you'd been engaged with that are sort of attempting to surround. There's a total of 5 of them within range now, within like 5 to 10 foot range, both on the left and right side and above as well. What would you like to do?
If we were to try and break through to head towards Elwyn, would it provoke opportunity attacks?
You can assume so, yes. There's at least 6 of these guys that are in tight formation that are staying close, that are moving with your Baylor as you're flying through the air.
I guess I'll say to it, like, try and break through and, like, point at over at like where Elwyn is.
Okay.
And I'll sort of just like grip my axe and wait till we start moving.
Okay. The creature itself makes a few attacks. It attacks twice with the whip and 3 times with its blade. Manages to strike down one of the creatures on the right-hand side with the whip. The blade attack, he makes several attempts at contact with these creatures, does a little bit of damage, but nothing substantial. Let's see, is he going to listen to you? The Baylor gives you sort of an angry growl and a snort, but it does bring the wings in a little bit closer and attempts to pivot off and make a turn. It angles its body so that it seems to be like it's trying to protect you. And it does provoke a couple of opportunity attacks from the creatures flying alongside.
I guess I specifically want to try and fend off things that are trying to hit us. If that's possible at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make your first attack at the first one that comes in.
That's a down. That's a 24 to hit.
Okay, that's a hit. Go ahead and roll your damage.
That's 26 plus 8. That's 34. That's 34, I guess, whatever axe damage.
Okay.
And then get the extra 3 radiant damage.
So as the creature comes in, it attempts to drive its spear into the Baylor, but you're able to swing the axe around, connect directly with the chest of the creature, killing it on impact, throwing its body down off towards the water. There's a second one that you eyeball swinging in from the opposite side if you'd like to make your second attack at it.
Yep. Uh, 26.
That's a hit.
Hit. Oh no. Is it okay? I thought it lagged and crashed again. That's 25 plus 8, that's 33.
Okay.
Plus another 1 radiant damage.
Nice. Well, he was wounded already from the blade attacks from the Baylor, so you did again as he came through. He tried to make an attack, but you swung the axe, connected with him along the top of his shoulder blade, drove it straight down into him, and threw him clearly dead as well down towards the water. Do you have anything else? Because there's one more coming in for an opportunity attack.
Do I have anything else? think there is anything else I can do.
Okay.
Unless, like, yeah, I wouldn't get an opportunity attack from it coming into range.
No, yeah, it's launching its opportunity attacks. So
yeah.
just because you held your action, you were able to sort of swing at those other two.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I don't have any.
Okay.
Because nothing else really applies. Like, I can't say that I can hit people with my horns.
No, not without like an action. If you have
Yeah.
like bonus actions or anything that you can toss, that would be something. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean that was a bonus. That would be a bonus action, but like it's just I don't think it really makes any sense.
I mean, you could try. I would definitely give you. I'd say if you want to try
Okay.
it, you can do it at disadvantage because it is sort of a wild attempt. But
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
yeah, because it is coming in pretty close, so it's going to try to make the attack. You can definitely attempt to swing your head into it at disadvantage.
I mean, I got a 19
Disadvantage?
with disadvantage. Yeah, I got a
Oh my
19 and a
God.
22.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, as the Baylor is sort of in the spin anyway and trying to make a turn, you're able to just barely grasp and connect with your horns with this guy. I don't know what your damage is for your horns, but go ahead.
I got a 6 plus 4, so 10 damage.
Okay. You do, yeah. You connect with him as he comes through, but he still is survivable and comes through, makes the attack with his spear against the Baylor. Connects, does a little bit of damage. The Baylor sort of howls and pulls off as the creature relents and pulls away, falling back into formation with the survivors there. You notice there's a few more groups of these creatures that are angling in from the direction of that massive beast off above the island, and they seem to be making direct headway. There's 3 groups of what looked 4 to 5 each that are angling towards your group, your party, and they'd be on your right-hand side now as you're moving off towards the island. You made sort of a sharp left turn towards where Elwyn is. That brings us to Crix.
All right. How many seem left in the area?
Roll perception for me. You're sort of the most
Perception.
central in this group at the moment.
19.
Okay. You took a big chunk of them out down below. There's not many down below, and you see most of them are trying to avoid that sort of nasty wind tunnel that you created. But glancing around, trying to take stock, it looks like there's at least 40 of these things in the air. Some of them are a good distance away, flying from the direction of that massive creature over the island. But there's still several engaged with Tacitus and Briar above you. And a good amount of them are over on the opposite side towards Elwyn. You can't really make out where the Baylor with Sam Stricken is now. He's off in the distance. You know that he flew off towards the island, but you can't see him.
Or Sam.
So yeah. So where Elwyn is, how word this? Where's like a good pack of these enemies from him?
The tightest pack would be between you and Elwyn. There's 4 of the creatures with their 2 sort of flocks of birds passing in the space there as well. So 5 total that you can target. And they're all within 5 feet of each other.
I don't remember if my bow does a piercing shot or not. Let's test it.
Your new bow?
Yep. I'm going to take a shot at one and see if I can line it up and see if this pierces or not. Ooh, that's a good hit. 28.
Yep, that's a solid hit. You wanted to attack one of the winged creatures, not the birds?
I want to try to see if I can line these shots up to hit as many of these things as possible.
Okay.
So whatever is the first fucking target that's an enemy, I'm gonna hit.
Okay. So yeah, you pull the bow back, and again, it just generates the arrow as you pull back on it. That same purple goldish cosmic like energy. As you loose the arrow, you see it leave a trail behind it as well. The arrow punches directly through the upper shoulder blade of one creature and travels through. It seems to pierce. I want you to roll your damage for me. It's
What's the damage on that thing?
8d6.
8d6. All right. I knew I had these dice off to the side for some reason. Rename this Soul Guides damage. Ooh, that's nice. 31.
Nice. Okay. So yeah, cuts clearly through the shoulder of one of those creatures, doing significant damage to him. Passes through one of the bird flocks and disperses them as they sort of dissipate into the air in just this sort of black smoke-like energy, completely fizzling out. It avoids the other flock, but it does pass into an additional armored enemy, and continues on for a ways before the arrow itself fizzles out. But you damage two of them successfully, pretty critically.
This.
Anything else?
I only get one shot. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking something. Yeah, for now. I don't remember if Wild Shape is bonus action or action.
It's bonus.
It's bonus action.
If you're Circle of the Moon.
Oh, it is.
Yep.
Actually, no. There's spells I use and don't have. Shit. Yeah, no, that's gonna be it.
Okay.
I thought I had heal and word. I don't.
All good. So your Baelor itself, it seems to acknowledge the movements of Tacitus and Briars, and sort of gets in a bit of a formation with the other two as they move off in the direction of where Elwyn is currently. The winged creatures all begin to attack. We're going to start with Elwyn. Out in the open and free from your Baelor now, you start to feel several creatures move in and strike at you with their spears.
Alrighty.
And I know you get that Agathis up. 3 of them make contact with you.
Okay. For every one that hits me, my character sheet exploded as I was looking at it. I think it's that every single one that hits me takes 25 cold damage. I can't remember if they need to roll something or not.
I think it is. Let me double check. Detective magical
that
force
for
around
Agathis?
you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says there's no saves. It's straight up damage.
Straight up damage, right?
Yeah, so just every single one that lands a melee attack on me will just take.
It's until the shield absorption goes away.
Yeah.
Yep, and you cast it at what level?
That level.
Okay. So yeah, 25 cold, and you gained 25 temporary hit points. You put that on there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Hello. Suddenly can't find my. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Okay, so you take from the strikes, you take 22 points of damage, but you feel that cold force push off of you and connect with these creatures as well. One of them was wounded. The rest of the party, you sort of see it strike at Elwyn and almost completely freeze and start falling towards the water dead. The other two resist the damage. They take it as they fall back. Several of them also attack Elwyn's Baelor, who is also struggling to regain its sight. Briar.
Yes.
Several of the creatures give chase. From up above, several of them begin sort of stabbing down with their spears at you and your Baelor. One makes contact with you, the others miss. Does 9 points of damage with the spear. Your Baelor takes a little bit of damage too, but nothing too serious, doesn't seem. Tacitus, the group that you were engaged with, is giving pursuit as well, sticking with you and your Baelor. 2 of them strike at you, and both make contact for 12 damage. This time your
Each
Baylor does
12?
no 12
Or-
total. Yep, and your Baylor takes a little bit of damage this time as well as they sort of use the opportunity to strike into him. And Crix. No damage. Everything swings through it and misses. But you've got 6 that have fallen in and moved within range to begin to attack you and your Baylor. Your Baylor itself seems to be aware of that wind that you created and is trying to stay above it at a distance that they can't really get underneath you. That massive creature, you see him sort of lift his hand out in the distance, and those purple Erebos whip-like tentacle energies rise up out of the water and begin to strike in the direction of your Baylors as well. Elwyn, you feel one of those tentacles whip right past you. You can feel the wind of it and the almost decayed nature of the energy as it passes through that just almost draws life force from you, but doesn't do any damage. Briar passes alongside your Baylor, whips through the air, 2 of them on both sides. Tacitus doesn't get anywhere near you, but you feel it sort of reach out of the water, attempt to making contact with you and your Baylor, but your Baylor is able to avoid. Crix, your Baylor gets connected in its arm with a shot from one of these tentacles, and you can see his arm take a bit of a burn from the strike as it tries to grasp onto him, but he's able to pull off and resist the entanglement of it. Which brings us to Elwyn. You're regaining your sight here.
Regaining, but still don't have it back.
No, you have back. Yep, you're just at the start of your turn. Your sight is returning to you.
Okay.
Blinking yourself back in, you see that you're surrounded by these creatures, sort of hovering in place. Your Baylor is about 15 feet away from you. Also, sort of struggling to regain its sight. Seems to be able to see things now as it's beginning to make a couple of attacks. Makes eye contact with you as well, and begins to move towards to reacquire you.
Did any of them die from getting hit by my armor like this?
One of them did.
One of them did. Okay. Do I have another large scale attack? With one more spell slot, I could do another Cone of Cold. They're surrounding me right now?
Yeah, they're sort of circling and surrounding in almost all directions. They've sort of focused on you because the 2 of you were stopped, whereas the rest of the party is moving. You can see the rest of the party as well off in the distance moving towards you at pretty high speed. And you see that you have the land of the island down below you, just sort of on the edge of what it would be the beach of it. The island itself is mostly covered in varied ruins, gray, deadish-looking trees. But I'd say if you wanted to launch a Cone of Cold, the tightest pack of them, you'd have 8, which would be above and between you and the rest of the group. But they're not close enough that you would hit them. You would just hit the 8 enemies, which would be a flock of birds and 7 of the demonic creatures.
So I'm visualizing them sort of like surrounding me in a circle right now. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's accurate.
Yep. No, they're circling at speed and sort of zipping in and dropping into attack when their turns are up. So
what's the sort of average distance between me and them right now?
They're all staying roughly within 30 feet.
Okay, now if I were to shoot up into the sky like 30 feet and aim a Cone of Cold, which is a 60-foot cone, downwards at them all, would it capture them all?
It would capture them all. It would also clip your Baylor.
Now, what if I were to go down and then shoot up? Would it also capture my Baylor?
Yeah, same thing. Because you guys are sort of in the center of this group of them.
That's annoying.
You could get back on your Baylor's back and then use its movement, or if you wanted to try and direct him to.
Is that allowed in this turn? Can I direct my Baylor to make movements here?
You can ask him. Yeah, I mean it'd be up to you. You could use your movement to get back on and attach to him. Once again, get yourself on his back, and then request an action from him, a movement action.
Okay, if I can do that in my turn, then I think what I'll do is fly towards him.
Okay.
and then direct him to shoot straight down, so that I can aim this cone of cold directly up at all of these creatures.
Okay, how do you want to request this to this guy? So you fly in, you grab back onto his back.
Yeah, so I figure he's already seen me shoot this cone of cold once before.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna quickly point downwards and yell, "Go down, straight down."
After you get yourself back on.
Yeah, like
Okay.
hardly even fully back on his back. I've just sort of like grabbed a hand on his back and I'm telling him to go straight downwards.
Okay. He gives you a very like dissatisfied grunt and a growl for a moment, but you see him sort of assess the situation and adjust. So he does fly down and position himself well enough for you to make the move.
And after he does that, I'm gonna like whip around and point my hand up and just cast cold.
Okay.
So Constitution saving throws for all of them. DC
Yeah.
17.
It's a good thing I have a shitload of d20s. Go ahead and roll your damage.
Do that. 88. Okay. Oh, nice. 45 this time.
Okay. So, 2, 3, 5. So yeah, you drop down. The Baylor does his dive, brings you right up to the edge of the point where you'd start taking opportunity attacks, and is able to pull back, give you a nice little space in between where you can fire that cone of cold up into the air. 1, 2, 3. Most of the creatures are able to sort of bring their wings in and shield themselves from most of the damage. But 6 of them are struck cleanly enough and frozen through that they are completely destroyed and frozen as they spill back down towards the water. A couple of them hitting those tentacles on the way down and shattering.
Sweet. That is all of my 5th level spell slots.
Okay. Anything else for your actions there?
No, that's it.
Okay. So the Baylor, after you sort of clear that space, gives off a growl in the distance towards the rest of the party and begins to move down towards the island. Uses the last of his movement to get a little lower down. Which brings us to Briar. So your Baylor as well was used his movement to get as close as he could, and he seems to still be focused on moving directly towards the island where Elwyn is located. You just witnessed Elwyn fire that cone of cold up in the air, do pretty significant damage to a massive group of those creatures. You've still got a good cabal of them linked up and attempting to move along with you as well.
I'm gonna do the same thing I've been doing. And if I can hit any of them, I would like to hit them.
Sure.
Nat 20.
Okay.
Ooh, and a 19.
So double the damage on one.
29, 34. Yeah. Okay. Do you double before or after your bonus?
After. Just roll your damage and then double your number.
Cool. So 30 on the first one.
Okay.
9 on the next.
Okay. So yeah, you managed to strike one of them as you're pushing through. Your Baylor uses his full movement to push as close as he can to the island, and he starts angling downward in a dive as well, as if he's trying to reach the ground. Catching up, making a decent way of progress to where Elwyn and his Baylor are located, since they sort of moved down and had to stop. But you do spot one of those creatures get within range. You make your attacks, cutting right through. This one was also previously damaged by the Baylor's attacks, and you're able to cut through, get one of the slices right along its neck, spilling its blood as it drips off into the water down below. The Baylor also uses his attacks while he's moving to strike with his whip. Does some pretty significant damage, kills another one of those creatures as well. But you see that his focus is clearly not on engaging these things anymore. He seems to be trying to disengage and get away from this fight.
Okay.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all.
Tacitus. So you're above Briar. You're still sort of engaged with this group as well. Your Baylor as well has sort of moved into formation with above Crix's and Briar's Baylors, and they all seem to be angling towards Elwyn, getting into a bit of a dive. What would you like to do?
How far away are the tentacles from us? They're like trying to reach up at us.
Give me a perception roll.
3.
You can't tell a distance, but you know from the last turn that one of them came pretty close to making contact, and I'd say you probably saw one of them make contact with one of the Baylor as well, do a little bit of damage. So you know that they're whipping pretty close. With the motion and the chaos, everything's going on. You know that there's a good number of them down below, but you have no idea how many are rising up and trying to attack and how close they might be.
How far away is the big ass demon on the island?
Probably 800 to 900 feet, I'd say, would be your best guess at the moment. He's pretty massive. It's hard to judge distance. He's looming over the island as well.
Okay.
Seems to be coordinating whatever's going on here on some level.
Is my Baylor, like, is there anyone behind me, I guess?
There's a good number of these creatures, giving chase. They're above, behind.
I mean, of our party.
Oh, no. No, Crix, you're at the highest level at this point. Briar and Crix are... No, I'm sorry. Briar's above you. Yes. Crix and you are on the same level. But Briar's not behind you, just above.
Okay.
Your Baylor, again, is making an angle to sort of swing in, reach sort of where Elwyn is. And he seems to be, along with the massive group of them, the group of you, moving towards the island itself.
Yeah. I'm just looking at some of my spells.
Sure. There's still a good amount of creatures up and above and around you guys, so. And I'd say, again, with all of you, just as a point, if you want your Baylor to take specific actions or movements, that is a thing that you can request. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of do its own thing. It's not the most ideal situation for melee-based characters.
Yeah. Well, okay, I'm gonna touch the Baylor and cast haste.
Ooh.
On it.
Okay.
So it gets a +2 to AC, advantage on Dex, additional action. For a minute.
Hell yeah. Does it affect his speed at all?
Yes, the speed is doubled.
That's what I thought. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, yeah, the second you touch it, you get a very, positive growl from the creature as you feel its wings give a massive burst and a push out as it throws itself forward ahead of Crix and Briar. And it uses that additional action to take a swing at one of those tentacles it's whipping up around. Its whip makes contact with the tentacle. Doesn't seem to do a shitload of damage, but it does scorch the sides of it and push it off a bit of a ways.
I'll say just whatever gets close. Like I'm sort of just acting as an extra 2 attacks for it. So, whatever gets close enough, I'll swing it.
Okay, so you want to hold to attack anything that swings in to try and attack him?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Anything else?
That's it for me.
right, that brings us to Crix. So you're in the same situation. You've got Briar above. All three Baelor seem to be moving in sync. Tacitus's Baelor just gave a massive burst of speed, pulled ahead, getting very close to the area where Elwyn and his Baelor are located now. What would you like to do, Crix?
Let's see, I'm down that much. That was 1, 2. I am going to upcast a Cure Wounds on myself to level 4.
Okay.
And I will heal myself for 31.
Okay, got it.
So that almost topped me. And I don't really have anything for bonus.
Okay.
That's the downside.
You want to just kind of go with the flow of your Baelor?
I'm gonna see if I can suggest to him. Perhaps we should get closer to the others. Where a little bit out.
Yeah, it gives you a growl in response again, but it does seem to be moving in formation with the group. The only one that pulled ahead was Tacitus. Elwyn's a good distance away, but yours and Briar's above you seem to be moving again in like a low dive towards Elwyn and towards the island.
Okay.
So anything? That's all. Is that your turn?
Yeah, that's literally all I got.
Okay. So beginning with you, Elwyn. Immediately after your strike, again, your Baelor sort of tucked in and gave a shout to the rest of the Baelor, communicating in its language, and gave a dive towards the island. It's continuing that approach, so it seems to be diving towards the nearest beach along the edge of the island there, and it's using its full movement to just angle downwards in that direction.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do?
I'm just hanging on for now, following wherever direction he's going.
Okay. Do you want to take any actions or?
Might as well fire some Eldritch Blasts at some of the stragglers around us. I'm going to randomly pick 3 targets.
Okay.
Fire 3 beams. First one is a 21 to hit.
Hit.
The second one is a 23 to hit.
Hit.
The third one is a 19 to hit.
3 hits.
Okay, damage. For the first beam, it's going to be 13 damage. Oh, I forgot I get an extra 4 fire damage, huh?
You do.
So it's going to be 13 plus 4, which is 17 for the first beam. The second beam is going to do 13 total. And the third beam is going to do 19 damage total.
Okay, so yeah, the 3 of those connecting with the same target strikes that guy down. He's burned through by the energy.
Nice.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Okay. So the group of you notice the winged sort of demonic creatures, for the most part, begin to tighten their formations, and they again throw their wings up to shield themselves. That creature in the back fires off another massive glowing blast. I need everybody to make a Constitution saving throw for me.
Me and my Baelor get the bonus.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm assuming everyone else is outside your range.
Yeah.
You bastard.
15?
16, you said?
13.
15 for Briar, 13 for Crix.
I got a nat 20, so 31.
Okay.
God.
Elwyn's redemption arc, I rolled a 19 plus 3, so
Okay.
22.
It's everyone else's turn.
And okay.
Fuck.
Elwin, you're on your redemption arc, but your Baylor is not.
No. I still have
So
my flight active, so even if he falls, I'll be fine.
he seems to like he's definitely affected by it. You feel him sort of shift off to the side as that pulse of this golden blinding energy emits from that creature. He maintains his flight. He seems to just be maintaining his heading and direction, but you can tell that he's lost his sight again. Briar,
Yeah.
yours was a 15, right?
Yep.
So you're resisting this time, just barely. You're able to shield your eyes just in time as the light passes over you. Your Baylor also is able to sort of swing off to the side and avoid the pulse of it, and is not blinded. Tacitus, with that nat 20, we're gonna come back to you with a couple things. So I'm gonna hold off on you for a moment.
Cool.
Crix, unfortunately,
Yeah, God.
you're again unable to resist. You sort of are a little shocked by the group of enemies as they shield themselves with their wings, and it reminds you of what's about to happen. But instead of pulling your arm up, you just look directly at that creature as he throws that blast off, putting you on another blind for the next round.
Wait, what is everyone doing? Ah!
Uh, your Baylor is also blinded as the strike comes through. You feel it begin to dive further. You're still over the water at the moment. You're heading towards the island, but you feel it start to dip down lower. Now, Tacitus, you're able to just fully resist this, but you're able to sort of also keep your wits about you and keep an eye on the air as this is happening. And you realize that all of these creatures sort of held back and waited for that blast to go off before they also angled in their strikes. And you see them begin taking advantage of that to make strikes on the rest of the party. But for you, I'm going to give you have your 2 reactionary actions. I'm going to give you 2 additional with that nat 20 as well as these
Okay.
creatures come in. So one of them swings in directly from above with one following behind him. So go ahead and make 2 attacks if you want to strike at them.
I mean, that's like a hit. It's like it's a 25 before I even add the axis bonus.
Okay.
So like what? That's like a
Yeah.
39.
39, yeah.
Jesus.
Doesn't hit. No, okay.
13 plus 8, 21.
Okay.
Plus the radiant damage, which is another 4 radiant.
Okay. And that creature was damaged already, so you were able to cut cleanly through the first one, just almost swat him like a fly out of the air as it comes through, with the other one following close behind.
Another 39.
That's a hell of a hit.
Let's see here. 5d8 is 24, plus 8 is 32, plus the d8 for radiant is 1 radiant damage. So 33
Shout out to that
damage.
one. Shout out to that one radiant damage. Really doing its best.
You make contact with him, severely wounding him, and swatting him off, deflecting the attack. He's not dead. He sort of spins off and regains his ability in his flight and his heading. Not dead, but you can clearly see you severely wounded him.
Yeah.
Following that, you gaze off on the left and immediately see 2 more coming in from that side, sort of swooping in from above and leveling out, coming straight for you.
That's a 29.
That's it.
+27 plus 8, that's 35 plus the d8. Oh, plus 8. So 35 plus 8, 43 damage total.
Yeah, I completely swing through, cut this guy almost cleanly in half as it comes through, killing him as he comes through the air with 1 more following behind.
And then that is a... Okay, that's a 24, despite being a 2. So, you know.
It's a hit.
And that's 22 damage plus 8, 30 plus the d8. The D8 is 535.
Okay. Again, severely wounds the creature. The second one, as it comes in, prevents it from making its attack, swinging through. There's two more that come in from underneath, though, that strike at the Baylor. One of them makes contact with the Baylor. The other one does not. And that's going to put us through your round of retaliation.
Does that make contact even though the Baylor has +2 AC?
Yes. Yeah.
Damn.
I've got the +2 on here. Okay, that brings us to Briar.
Are we getting any
Nope,
closer?
not your
to
turn yet.
land?
Hold on, not your turn yet. You're getting attacked.
Oh, just kidding.
You're getting attacked.
So I've got. Ooh. One of them strikes clean right through at your back with a net 20.
Can I uncanny dodge?
No.
I'm probably dead right
It's a
now.
nice request. 12. 22 points of damage.
Okay.
You live.
I have 13 left.
You can take one more.
Which one more did make contact.
Oh no.
For 7 damage.
Cool.
Oh,
6.
still alive.
I'm sitting at 6 health points.
Your Baylor takes a pretty solid volley of attacks as well. From these creatures, they've all got advantage from the blinding, and
I thought he wasn't blinded.
he's not blinded, but they use the attack. It gives them advantage on their strikes.
Ah.
So the way he fired it off. Now, Baylor takes a good amount of damage. You see him sort of struggle to maintain flight for a moment before he catches his wings back up and levels himself out. Again, making just absolute headway for the island at the moment. We already ran through Tacitus. Crix.
I'm blind, ain't I?
Yeah, you're blind. It's,
I have a decision in my mind I want to do, but
well, while you're deciding, two enemies make contact with you with their spears. They swoop in, dealing 16 points of damage. Your Baylor also takes a couple rounds of attacks. And the remainder, there's nobody that can catch up to poor little Sam. Oof. Oh, and a couple of them do angle towards you. One of them rolled a nat 1, even with advantage. I rolled 2 ones.
Incredible.
So
It
just
also got blinded.
misangles the attack, swings in, and actually connects with the spear with the opposite creature who was coming to engage you, which would have hit you had it not been speared by its ally. Your Baylor is able to spin off to the side blindly, accidentally, in most sense, and avoid the attacks. So you're good. But that does bring us now to Briar for your actual turn.
All right.
I guess it.
Oh, it does it because Elwyn would be before me.
Say what?
Who was the last one that got turned?
I'm confused.
I took Elwyn's turn first because I had a shitload of things that I needed to roll. So while he was using his turn, I rolled the enemy's turn.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did, instead of how it rolled out enemy Elwyn, I did Elwyn then enemies because I didn't want you guys to sit there for 15 minutes while I rolled a shitload of dice.
I'm just confused because you said that you did Tassus, then you went to May.
This was the
for
enemy's.
damage.
This was the enemy's attack turn. Yes, not your actual turn. So when I was just coming to the enemy attack turns and calling you out as I rolled the attacks against you. But in the turn order, it is now Briar's turn.
Okay. How close are we getting to the island?
You're getting pretty close. You can see that you're descending. You probably reach it within the next round at the speed that you're moving.
Okay. Well, nothing creative then. We will attack whatever is in range. because I have nothing to sustain myself.
Okay. And you just want to let the Baylor keep moving in his direction.
Yep.
Okay.
Unless, no, we'll go with reckless.
Okay.
I'll go. Man, does a 17 hit?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank God for a plus 15. And then 32.
32 damage.
Oh no,
32 to
absolutely
hit.
not.
Gotcha. Okay.
Correct.
I was
So
gonna
a
say
17 and
Yeah.
17 and a 32.
Gotcha.
Damage is 13 on one. I don't know where that. Oh, there it is. And 13 on the other.
Okay.
You know.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're
No,
fine.
it was not important.
Alright. I need you to roll a perception for me, Briar.
27.
Okay. So as you make contact, you do pretty significant damage to the creature. You notice that same explosion of petals. Those are sort of like razor blades fire off from the strikes. Two of them make contact with one of those tentacles with that very Nyx-like energy inside of it. And
Yeah.
you see that they do very significant damage to that tentacle, cutting clear through it, where most other attacks sort of make contact and it resists. It's like almost a solid material. Those petals cut clean through, doing severe damage, almost severing the tentacle the location that it hits, making it just reach immediately, get sucked back down into the water below.
All right. Duly noted. And how close is the nearest tentacle?
The nearest one to you now, I'd say we had rolled well enough on perception. There's two of them. There's one off in front of you, down low, that you're sort of flying towards, but not directly at. And another one behind you that had reached up in Tacitus' direction and missed on the last round.
Okay. So, still not extremely close, but they're close-ish.
Yeah.
How long are we planning on going tonight? But
Probably another hour.
okay, I'll be
If
right
that's
back.
cool with everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just
Oh,
grab
it's
a snack.
pretty early, all things considered, still.
Yeah.
I'll be back at 5.
Was that your turn, Briar?
Yes, that's my turn.
Okay. Technically, it's Tacitus' turn, but we'll jump to Crix and we'll come back to Tacitus. So, Crix.
I'm still blind.
Yes.
Yes.
This is your actual blind turn, yeah.
Okay, that's why I was confused before. So Crix just holds his arm out in front of the Baylor with his hands outstretched and just goes, I can't see anything, just point my arm in a direction where the enemies are.
You feel it lurch off and make a move, and you feel it steady out.
As soon as it steadies, I'm going to cast Conjure Animals. And I'm going to create 8 spider monkeys 60 feet out in the air.
In the air?
In the air.
So they're falling.
I'm hoping wherever he pointed me is where there's enemies.
Okay. So you're counting on these spider monkeys to land on people?
To land on the enemy, grapple them, and kind of bundle them up like they're nets.
Oh, that's interesting. And you're blind, so let's see.
That's what I said.
All right. What's the radius of the spacing between these guys that you conjure?
They're going to be like pretty close. So if there's 8 of them, so I mean, one's going to take up like a 5-foot space.
Right.
So it would be like almost like a 3x3.
Okay.
Really close to a 3x3.
All right. I'm gonna roll them out individually. Let's see. 2.
It was spider monkeys or goats. I'm like, I want something that grapples.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. All right. So, I mean, you can't see the results, but you hear the screech of these monkeys immediately materialize and begin plummeting. You also hear it does sound like several of them make contact with something. You hear scratching and slashing and the damage, but from your perspective, you're not sure exactly how well it worked.
Hearing the sounds,
You
Chris
do
is like,
hear
"Dad,
the
you
sounds of
fucking get the monkeys!" I just look at the
monkey-like
bailiff.
chaos.
Yeah, and just kind of like look towards where the bailiff is, and like, I do good.
It gave you a bit of a positive sort of a growl. As it
All right.
continues, you feel it start to descend as well, once again.
That's my turn.
All right. Are you back, Guda? Let's see.
I shall call that ability Monkey Net.
If Guda's not back yet, it would technically be the enemy's turn, so I don't want to rule that out just yet. We'll give Guda a minute to
Take 5. Go get
return.
drinks,
Yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yep. I rolled out the monkeys individually to see if they connected anything, and I rolled really well.
Wow.
I'll say that, yeah. The first time tonight, I rolled pretty consistently very well. I'll say that I got 2 nat 20s in a row to counteract my 2 nat 1s in a row earlier.
I was seriously like expecting that to just flat out fail. I'm blind. What would Crix do? I was like, he would probably summon goats as a blockade and just hope for the best. But monkeys work as well.
It's a good thing those aren't real life monkeys.
Dude, he is such a bad druid.
Luckily, they didn't fall down into your downdraft because you passed it now.
Yeah, true. Actually, technically, that downdraft is gone because I think.
I thought it just lasts an hour, right?
Well, it's concentration, I believe. Let me double check. Control wins. It's concentration,
Okay.
and animals is concentration
Gotcha.
too.
So you broke it to cast that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I guess I'll take this time to roll out my mini enemy attacks ahead of time.
Those poor monkeys.
Some of them, not all of them. I guess either way, they're even if they succeeded killing their targets, they're going down.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
All good. It is your turn. So basically, what just happened in front of you. Well, actually, it would be behind you. You're a bit ahead, but you heard a cacophony of screeching, and if you bothered to turn and look back, you would have seen several spider monkeys fall from the sky, materializing in front of the Baylor traveling behind you with Crix on the back.
Would I have heard Crix laughing maniacally?
Yes.
Okay. I think if Tastus hears that, he will not turn around.
Okay. So you definitely hear the sounds of those monkeys falling from the sky, Crix maniacally laughing, and several enemies also shouting and screaming as those monkeys begin scraping and clawing at the ones that made contact.
Will these monkeys also die a horrible death when they hit the water below?
All of them, well, yes, they are not long for this world.
Well, they aren't really real.
They're not real. They're like spirit energy. Yeah, is how the cast works. It creates animal spirits.
But
They-
isn't
they're
everything
real
down
enough
here
to-
a spirit?
They're souls. The monkeys they don't really have souls. You can't conjure a soul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Don't-
makes me
don't-
feel better, I guess.
Yeah, don't
Yeah, we're
think
going-
too much about it. Otherwise, it hurts.
Just don't think about it.
Yeah, just think of them as stuffed monkeys that can move.
Okay. Oh, man, what the? That
The
just
real-
completely destroyed my train of thought.
Yeah.
Wow.
The realization comes to Crix. It's like, well, you see, the animals are actually souls. Well, you just destroyed. Oh shit!
So,
Unfortunate.
how many are, I guess, nearby / between me or my Baylor and the island?
So you've got Elwyn and his Baylor about 20 feet from you out in front, and below you, a little closer to the island. The island itself is roughly 90 feet. You're like roughly 90 feet from reaching the actual surface of the beach down below.
Okay.
So you'll know that this Baylor, at the speed that it's moving, especially, is probably going to reach it. At least get very close to it on this round.
Okay.
And that seems to be his
are
target.
there any enemies in front of us?
There's several above you, none in front of you. They're all in the air
Okay.
above.
I'm going to just ready my attack, and if they get close, swing
Okay.
again. Like, just fend them off.
Okay. So the Baylor himself uses his full movement, bursts down with the speed ahead of Elwyn. You burst past Elwyn, and the Baylor lands on the surface of the beach. Sort of shakes a bit, like beckoning you to get off.
Yeah, I get off.
Okay.
I jump off.
It gets itself back into position. Doesn't have really much movement left, so it gets back and seems to arm itself, get ready to take back off into the sky. The beach that he's dropped you off on is a very bleak, blackish gray sand beach.
Oh, this is good.
You see hundreds of golden masks, similar to the ones that you'd seen on the Returned in that city that had been crafting them. Just hundreds of these masks. Some of them are still attached to the remains of some of these creatures that washed up out of that river. Obviously, failed souls that attempted to swim that path but didn't make it. And the beach itself is just littered with these masks.
That's great.
Looming above you way in the distance, that same massive creature. The enemies themselves seem to be still swarming up in the sky. None of them have angled to make an attack directly at you. The area around you is mostly just open beach. Moving further into the island, you see a good number of ruins. 1 second, I can post an image for you here. Sort of what this island looks like. You want to just hold your ground at the moment, or?
So the beach is completely open, you said.
Yeah, the beach is completely open.
How close is a cliffside or anything like that from where I am? Is there anything like that nearby?
About 120 feet away would be the nearest cover, if that's what you're looking for. Would be a bit of ruin. As far as cliffsides, are at least 300 feet away, off on the opposite direction, off to your right-hand side. The beach itself has little scattered bits of ruin, just leftover walls and barely 3-foot tall structure that is just crumbled to nothing at this point.
Mainly, my goal at this point would be to try and avoid the notice of still remain on the beach, but try and get somewhere where I'm not could be directly in line of sight of that massive creature.
Okay, so yeah, you could just begin darting off towards the nearest ruin.
Yeah,
to take cover. Okay.
I don't want to be so far away that people can't that the rest of the party who sees me can't find where I'm at, but I feel like staying there is going to cause problems when everyone else lands.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, there's a couple pieces of ruin that you can get to that are within range. You can use your movement to move off towards those and still stay within visual range of the party once they get to the location.
Yep.
Okay. We already handled Crix. So The enemies themselves, Tacitus, from your position, you see that massive creature sort of lift its hand up into the air, and from the water out around you, and on the opposite side of the island where you can't really see, you see those tentacles drive up through the air, out of the water. The winged creatures themselves seem to back away as the tentacles start to swing back in attempts to make strikes at the remainder of the party who's flying in trying to gain access to the beach that you're on.
Are any of the tentacles close enough that I'd be able to hit them without touching the water? I'm assuming
no.
Okay.
Absolutely not, yeah. The closest one does take it. It swings towards Elwyn and his Baylor.
And hopefully misses.
It misses the Baylor, but it does connect with you on your side. I need you to make a strength saving throw.
Damn. I still happen to have 3 more temp hit points, so he also takes 25 cold damage.
The tentacle? Okay.
Yeah. Strength, you said?
Yes, strength saving throw.
Oh, guess what my strength modifier is? +0.
I was
See what
expecting
happens.
-1, so.
Yeah, I was gonna say better than me.
Ooh, I rolled a nat 20. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
You flex your abs and stay
I
upright.
make abs out of ice on
Yeah.
myself.
You do take 29 points of damage as you feel
Ow.
the necrotic sting of this tentacle burned through and past you. It attempts to wrap around
Hey,
and
I
grasp
have
onto you.
resistance to necrotic damage.
Oh, so you take half that.
Sick.
And it
What's
attempts
that?
to
29.
grab around and try to pull you off that Baylor. You can feel it try to yank you off into the water, but you're able to struggle off and resist. The Baylor itself is able to pull away with a blast of its wings off to the side as you avoid the constriction. You're able to stay on the back of that Baylor. Crix. There are... You can't see it yet, but you feel the sort of energy of those tentacles. 2 of them whip through. One of them strikes your Baylor beneath you, and you can feel the impact as it pushes you up into the air a bit. And you can hear the Baylor sort of howl in pain. Attempts to constrict your Baylor as well, but it's able to slash with its sword, pull itself away, and avoid the constriction. Another one whips up through the air, past you, misses. There's a third swing from the back and above that strikes you sort of in the back of your neck. And 13, it does 22 points of damage.
It's your Kardik.
And Briar.
Uh-huh.
Your Baylor swings off. You're able to avoid the first tentacle. You see it rise up in front of you as you're descending and swing directly at your Baylor's face. Swivels past, avoids the damage, but a second one springs out. And that's a nat 1.
Holy shit.
So it swings out, the Baylor just pulls. Yeah, I know you're sweating right now.
Hanging out for dear life.
Baylor veers off on the opposite side. The tentacle strikes one of the creatures following you, the abhorrent demons, and strikes it out of the air. Which brings us to Elwyn.
Oh, the tentacle rolled a 1.
The tentacle rolled a 1, yeah.
Okay.
Saving Briar's life.
Yes.
Literally.
Completely. Brings us back to Elwyn. So your Baylor, you're very close to the beach. So your Baylor is obviously angling to land on the beach on this turn. You can see that he's full motion trying to get you back on there. You saw Tacitus sort of blow past you. You saw his Baylor land on the beach. It's certainly currently trying to retake to the air, with Tacitus sprinting towards cover at the moment.
Where is my other companions? Where's Briar and Crix?
They're a good distance behind you. But looking back, I'd say even with that roll, you can get the idea that within this next turn, they're both going to reach the beachhead as well.
Okay. Let's see. What do I want to do? So my Baylor is trying to take me to the beach currently.
Yes, it's looking around. It seems like they're all trying to get you out of the air at the moment.
And Tacitus's Baylor went back into the air?
No, it's faster. He hasted it, so that thing is speedy as fuck. It blew past you, landed on the beach in front of you. Tacitus is on the ground.
Okay. Do I see what direction they're heading in general? Like, is there like a cave or something they're heading towards? Or
Ruins. There's scattered ruins. I posted an image just to give you sort of an idea, general idea of sort of the visual of what you're looking at on the ground there. As
Oh,
you
I
land in the
see.
breach and look over, the beach itself is just covered with golden masks of returned, who failed their swim and washed up along this beach. But there's scattered ruins everywhere along this island and along the beach as you move away from the beach, away from the water, towards the more central location of the island. And Tacitus is moving towards the nearest one.
Okay, gotcha. I see. And are there any creatures like hot on my tail right now?
None of them that seem to be engaging with you, though. As you land on the beach, they seem to be pulling away and moving towards Briar and Crix.
I guess I'll try and give Briar some support cover. Anything that's chasing her at the moment.
Okay.
I have a range of 600 feet with
Yeah.
my Elder's Blast, so I can just hit anything. Are there creatures like immediately like within vicinity of Briar right now?
Yeah, there's 6 of them following.
Okay. Try and hit 3 of them then. Yeah, I'll try and hit 3 of them.
Okay.
Okay, first beam is going to be 28 to hit.
Okay, that's a hit. That's it for 1 target.
The second one is going to be 21 to hit.
Okay.
And the third one will be 24 to hit.
Okay, 3 hits.
Okay, so for the first beam, the damage is going to be 7 plus 5 plus 4, 16.
Okay.
Total. The second beam is going to be 18 total.
Okay.
And the third beam is going to be 16 total.
Okay. So, Briar, you see Elwyn turn around with good distance in front of you as he's just sort of hitting the sand of the beach, firing off these 3 blasts that blaze past you, striking enemies behind you. Elwyn, one of them you make contact to, and it finishes it off. It was clearly damaged already pretty severely. Spins off and falls into the water below. The other 2 take the damage, but they're still flying. You finish your attack right as your Baylor sort of hits the sand, and it shakes a bit. It beckons for you to get off its back.
Okay, I get off its
Hop
back.
off. Okay. It also spins off and runs as if it's attempting to retake flight behind Tacitus's, who's about to take off. You see Tacitus just about 20 feet in front of you, moving through the sand towards a piece of ruin. Again, the beach is just covered with these golden masks, and you can see the looming figure of that sort of greater demon looming over the island as well.
Okay, I'm still sort of hovering with my flight, so I'm just gonna fly off in Tacitus's direction.
Okay. And is that your turn?
Yeah.
Okay, brings us to Briar.
I am so happy to almost be on land. I'll go ahead and attack one of the things that's next to us.
Okay.
25 to hit. And 18 to hit.
Okay, you want to attack one of the winged creatures? There's also a tentacle within range as well.
Ooh,
One of
let's
the
attack
ones
tentacle.
that just tried to swing at you.
Yeah, tentacle.
Okay. So both of them hit. Go ahead and roll your damage. I'd say it's as it missed you at that nat 1 and struck the creature, you're taking these swings at it.
Okay. So 15 for one, and 10 for the other.
Okay. So again, as you slice with your blade cuts clean through the tentacle, does severe, extreme damage. You can see it sort of burn and almost dissipate at the point of contact that your blade made. Again, it erupts in those petals as well. Several of them spin off and strike the tentacle at different places, doing very, very significant damage. The tentacle as well is almost completely severed. The piece that's severed off hangs off on the side as it falls back down towards the water below.
I have a question.
Sure.
As this is happening, does it look like the massive demon is hurt at all by this?
Perception.
Would I be able to see that?
Roll perception for me.
A 7?
God damn.
Blind as fuck.
You're just seeing
Yeah.
everything. But
It's yeah, you're like storming the beach in Normandy right now, man. There's shit going on everywhere. You try to get an idea of that. The thought pops into your head. You see the tentacle fall off in the water in the back, and you glance towards the creature. You don't notice any distinguishable effect, but you also get the idea that it's real hard for you to get an exact sense of the situation right now. So you're not sure. Anything else, Briar?
Are we landing?
You are almost there. So the beast uses its full speed, ducks down below like the mix of most of the combat, but you're still about 20 feet off from the ground up in the air.
All right. Nope, that's my turn.
Right. Takes us to Tacitus.
So there's still nothing at all, like, looking at or making any sort of motion towards us of like the winged creatures.
I hate to ask you this, but do you want to roll perception?
Great. Yeah. Sure. It's definitely gonna go well.
And also, you can reach that point of ruin at this.
20.
Oh,
You
okay.
did it. Tacitus sees.
Not nat 20.
Gotcha.
But a 20.
Okay.
Tacitus is perceiving.
And did you want to use your movement to reach the ruins and get cover, like you've been trying to do?
Yes, I'm gonna look. Yeah.
Okay. So you sprint towards those ruins. As you're gazing around, there's a few things that you notice. The enemies in the air seem to be staying to the air. None of them seem to be approaching the island or trying to land on the island. But you also notice something apparently under the water. You see the flow of it and the movement from above. You can see the disturbance in the water as something like propelling itself forward towards the beach.
Great. Okay. I'm gonna say that if I notice that, I'm going to, I guess, quickly pivot back then.
Away from the ruins?
Yeah.
Okay. And just sort of hold your ground?
Because, yeah, especially if it looks like that's going to be attacking or like emerging from where like the rest of the party is going to land. I especially want to, I guess, be closer.
Okay. I'd also say with that roll, before you turned around to look, you definitely saw the back of Sam Stricken with his purple bird flying above, rushing towards the interior of the island, full speed.
I don't think Tacitus pays it a single.
Okay.
He's still alive!
Okay, so you want to hold actions then? Hold attack actions?
Yes.
Okay.
How does Elwyn look in terms of like batteredness?
Not too bad.
Okay.
Halfway between life and death.
Yeah, so not like dead, not Briar level.
No, I'm definitely better off than Briar at the moment. Say about half my hit points left.
So still just
Yeah,
hold an action. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold action. I guess I'll probably just curse under my breath also.
Okay.
Wait, did I see? I guess I probably saw Tacitus turn around.
Yeah, I mean this
if
is.
you were behind me, I would have run
Yeah.
past you. I would have run past you and like pointed it out.
Well, no, you were already ahead of him. So as your turn
Yeah.
started, Elwyn was already behind you. And you sort of turned
He
around and took stock of
suddenly
the
turned
situation.
in my direction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
That's what I mean. Like, I would have turned back and like I would have pointed at the thing coming out of the water to Elwyn.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. That brings us to Crix. Crix, you're sort of in Briar's situation. You're moving towards the beach as your sight comes back to you. You see the aftermath of the monkey situation. There's still a couple creatures that are struggling to maintain flight as they're being scratched at by these monkeys. You see only 2 of them latched onto enemies. The rest of them nowhere to be seen, you can assume, have plummeted to their unfortunate short-lived demise.
How many enemies are there towards the back end of our as we're coming down to the aisle?
I mean, all of them, basically, at varied distances. Nothing is in front of you. The enemies are not between you and the island. They are all
Okay,
above and behind.
So let me ask this. What is the closest one behind us? And how many are there within a 100 feet square cube of that?
Um, directly behind you, there's 6 within 30 feet. Within 100-foot cube, a lot more than 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna want to use it. 5th level, control winds, down, drift.
Okay. As your
DC
Baylor is approaching.
17 strength.
Okay. Let's see here.
I can only picture like the 2 that had the monkeys on. I'm like, oh, thank God they're gone. Ah!
Okay. And one moment as I roll a shitload of dice. Okay. So as you cast the spell, a number of them sort of take note of it, like they've seen you do this before, and they pull up and are able to escape the range of it. But the remainder, there's a large number, including both of the ones with monkeys attached to them, are completely trapped within them, and their monkeys are thrust downward towards the water, as well as, from what you can see, at least like 75% of the remaining enemies are pushed by the wind down towards the water directly. You notice the tentacles themselves aren't moved at all.
Don't even bother. Go for it, man.
And with
Oh,
the...
you did.
What's up?
No. I was thinking like not movement going after the enemies, but I get not move because of the downdrift.
Yeah. The wind does not push them downward. But you make it about the same level as Briar, a little behind. So you're about 25, 30 feet away from the beachhead. Sort of above it. As your Baylor finishes the remainder of his movement. Do you want to do anything else with your turn?
That is pretty much it. I'm just gonna try to make myself as small as possible against the Baylor.
Okay. So the remainder of the enemies, like I said, most of them got pushed down into the water. There's another sort of howl from that massive enemy off looming over the island on the opposite side. It'd be basically, if you landed on the beach, it'd be like off to your right hand side, where he's located. Lifts both arms this time, and there's sort of a dark glow, and everything becomes blacker. The entire sky blackens. Visibility shoots down. You can't really see much further than the edge of the beach at this point. For those of you on the beach, those of you still on Baylor back, you can just barely make out the people on the beach as things start to thicken and darken. Crix. There's nothing in range that can reach you. Yeah, so that downdraft was pretty epic. It also probably saved Briar's life.
Classic Crix W.
I've had that spell since the very beginning of this campaign, and this is the first time using it. I loved it.
Finally found the time.
The entirety of the area just darkens to almost pitch blackness at this point. That even with your various abilities to see through darkness, it strains to see much more than 30 to 60 feet in front of you. Those on the beach, you sort of lose sight of the ripples in the water, of whatever is down there disturbing. But nobody is able to take any damage. You lose sight of the remainder of the flying enemies as well. At this point, both Elwyn and Tacitus's Baylors throw themselves back up into the darkness, into the air, to resume fighting with the remainder of those creatures. You can still make out that sort of purple cosmic energy of the tentacles, though, as it sways and slams in different directions out in that darkness. It's really the only thing you can make out at any distance. Which brings us to Elwyn.
Okay. Well, seeing Tacitus pointing and running away from that direction he was heading in, I'm going to like stop, and sort of look around me and scan my surroundings just to gain a sense of what's happening in every direction.
Yep. Crix and Briar are just about to join you on the beach. They're on their way down, very close, within 20 to 25 feet. The skies are all darkened, so you can't really make out anything off into those enemies, and you watch the two Balors that were on the beach already take off, move back into the sky. You can also see the fiery whips of the remainder, the Balor that you can assume had Sam stricken in its grasp, up in the air already. It seems to have lashed that whip out at something it seems to be in combat. You can still make out a good many of those tentacles in the air as well, moving over the water, very close to the beach as well. Give me a perception roll on top of that.
Perception is going to be 19.
Okay. So focusing, like, you do have the best of the dark vision of the party, I believe. You can make out a large number of sort of disturbing ripples and disturbances in the water as what look to be many creatures are pushing their way from underwater towards the beach. You're not sure what they are. It could be tentacles, could be something else, but there's definitely something moving towards the beach at number.
Okay, I'm gonna catch up with Tacitus and tell him this, and then I'm going to, for the first time, I suppose, reach for my greatsword.
Okay.
And unsheath it.
Okay. It casts a really powerful glow, and it does give you pretty clear visibility within about 50 feet all around.
Elwyn is surprised himself that he went for this blade over his two normal blades, but something felt right about it. So he decided to pull it out.
Okay.
And I'm just going to stand ready. I don't really know what's coming, but...
Okay, so you want to hold up and hold your action with Tacitus?
Yeah.
Okay. That brings us around to Briar. So, Briar, your Balor swoops in, gets level with the beach, uses the remainder of its movement, which is pretty considerable now, to drop you basically right next to Tacitus and Elwyn. So you guys see the Balor sort of hit the ground and drop Briar off, who is very wounded. It uses the remainder of its movement to push immediately back up into the air and take off into the darkness. Briar, what would you like to do?
So Briar gets down. She probably stumbles, possibly drops to a knee before getting back up. And she's gonna show the dagger she's been using and say, these do far more damage than anything else that we have to those Erebos tentacles. I know that we knew that they were meant for the gods, but whatever they are, they're good. And I'm gonna take the other one out and hold action with them.
Okay.
So how healthy is Briar right now? Right?
She's probably, bleeding out in a couple places. Probably not too steady on her feet.
It's
But she's gonna keep
little.
trying.
Very little. But that does bring us back to Tacitus.
Yeah, sure. I'll also just dump my lay on hands. So that's 55 health.
Oh my god.
Oh. Holy, that is exactly enough to bring me to full.
Damn.
Well, shit.
Like, not overcapping. Yep, exactly enough.
I think that's the first like paladin thing that Tacitus has really done. Like the fully paladin thing.
She's gonna be shocked and incredibly relieved and say, thank you.
I think Taz will probably just snort.
Fair enough. Anything else for your turn though?
I think that's an action, isn't it?
Land hands? I want to say it depends.
I think it is.
But let me double check. Yeah.
For me, it says as an action.
Okay, then that's an action.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll just everyone's landed now, right?
Except for Crix, who's about to touch down.
Okay. I guess I'll say to the others, like, once Crix gets here, we retreat as well as we can towards the towards the island, like further inland.
Okay.
For a real nod.
All right. So that's your turn for now. Still
Yeah.
holding just in case.
Yep.
Okay. So Crix, your Baylor swoops in the remaining distance as well. Hits the ground alongside the party, beckons for you to dismount.
Yeah, I'm going to dismount very quickly and rush over to the group.
Okay. It immediately reignites its whip and just throws itself up into the air to join the rest of the Baylor in this engagement.
Right. I start rushing over more towards Briar because I kind of saw how beat up she was, but I guess by the time we landed,
Yeah, that
Tassus
just
already
right before
healed
you
him.
landed, you saw that glowing, beautiful blast of lay on hands light.
I just kind of look at Tassus as they get close, and I'm like, oh, that's good. That's sounding good. I touch myself and heal myself instead. Fourth level heal spell. Where are you? There you are. For a whopping. Come on, roll. Wait, I do mess up. 22.
Okay. So for the moment, you are all dropped out of combat now. With things still sort of raging up ahead, we're going to keep your initiative rolls in mind because there's still some things going on. But for the moment, you aren't in combat. What would you like to do?
So we haven't quite made it across to our destination, right? We've
No.
just sort of stopped at a random
Yeah, you
part.
didn't even see the opposite end. You're not sure exactly how far until you were escaped. So you're not sure where you are. You know that you are a good distance in the center of the River Tartix, somewhere between life and death. The world of the dead and the world of the living.
Alwyn assumes the Dark Knight Idol pose, holding his greatsword in such a way, and kind of just looks at everybody and says, "Well, this is a shit show.
Oh, yo, thanks.
What should we do now?"
I have no ideas, but I'll tell you what. I look out in the distance. Can I see the guy that was casting the blind and shit?
Yeah, off on the right-hand side from landing on the beach, you can see him loomed well over the island still. And you can make
How
out
far?
the glow of him and the shape of him in the darkness, and you can make out a number of those winged creatures as well, sort of within his glow.
How far would you say?
I'd say your best estimate from the position that you're in right now, given his size, is several hundred feet, like 600-700 at least. You're not sure the terrain of the island either. It's a lot of tall, looming cliff, and there's a lot of darkness around.
You said
It's only-
700? I'm going to draw back my bow and I will take a disadvantage shot, the asshole.
Okay.
Because I have 800 range with that great bow.
Okay.
So funny.
Hey, he's pissed me off.
Understandable.
Disadvantage, please be good. A 19?
Okay. So the group of you watch Crix turn around, pull that bow, generate that arrow, fires it off in that same sort of purplish gold energy, careens off into the darkness, silence for a few moments before you hear almost a terrible growl, and the entire island shakes very violently. You see a glow, a golden bright glow from the direction of that creature as its head slowly angles towards the group of you, almost like Eye of Sauron level gaze now directed on you. And from up in the darkness, you hear a massive growl and sort of the thrust of a wingspan of some kind. You can't make out exactly what it is. At the same time, in the water where you saw those things start to approach, you see pairs of glowing purple orbs moving from below the water, getting brighter and brighter now as something is approaching, and you're looking at it. It looks probably at least 24 sets of these glowing purple orbs slowly trudging through the water to reach the beach.
Yeah, at
You
least
have to go and do that, Crix. You have to go and shoot an arrow when we were perfectly fine over here.
I don't know if I would say we were perfectly fine. Briar wants to do a quick test. She's gonna throw one of the daggers like 2 feet away into the ground.
Just toss it into the sand.
Yeah.
Okay, so you toss it. It makes contact. It gives a little bit of a pulse as it fires those petals. Not like ferociously, like not at speed, but it gives a little bit of a poof of the petal as it makes contact. They dissipate.
And it does not return.
It does not return.
Okay, she's gonna pick it up.
Interesting experiment.
Now, to be fair, I might have let my anger get to me, but we're going to have to probably fight this thing at some point.
I'm gonna shout. We head inland.
All right,
then-
we head inland.
Inland is good. I like inland.
I'll
Okay.
bring up the rear.
All right, so you just want to full speed run away from the beach.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll take lead if Elwyn is taking rear.
So as you approach, I'm going to give you sort of an idea of what things look like as you run through. Every now and then you come across ruin. Not all of it is just stone structure. Some of it seems to have some significance. Some of it looks Gothic in nature. Some of it looks... the architecture changes dramatically from a lot of these structures. Like they were almost dropped out of different places and different points in time and left here alone. You pass specifically this one ruin with this smashed out sort of cathedral-like window. The building, what's left of it itself, is sort of sunken into the ground. As you pass by, you see several creatures, very souls-like, almost melting into the ground. I'm going to give you some imagery of what some of these guys are looking like. Looking almost as if the river began to strip away their identity, but didn't quite finish before they'd washed up on the beach here. And you can assume a lot of these things are what once had those golden masks that you saw strewn across that beach. They wore them at some point before they washed up onto this beach now, and what's left of them is slowly melting away into the surface of the island itself. As you progress a bit of a ways, you reach these ruins. You've been running for just a couple minutes. You do hear some massive thump and growl from the way that you came, the direction you came towards the beach. Keep progressing into the island.
I want to look behind us.
It's just like pure magical darkness at this
Dark.
point back there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yep. Keep moving.
Every now and then you see the glow pass over you, that golden glow of that creature as it's sort of scanning the environment. Go ahead.
If it's just like regular magical darkness, I can see through it up to 120 feet.
Yeah, 120.
So when I look back, what am I seeing exactly?
You're well past 120 feet from the beach, so you can see back the path that you came towards the ruin and a bit of the sort of cliff faces, but nothing approaching.
So nothing within 120 feet behind us.
Again, you see a lot of these creatures that are sort of melting away into the terrain. None of them are really moving very much. They're laying in various places. Some of them are sitting or leaned against certain pieces of ruins or structure. None of them are really moving about. If you continue walking a bit of a ways, though, you do see a lot more of those shambling spirits, those very bluish-like spirits with those red glowing eyes and mouths. None of them acknowledge you as you sort of push through and approach and move around them. There's scattered groups of them. Every now and then you see 2 or 3 in a group. Sometimes it's just one that shambles across, moving mindlessly, aimlessly, looking at nothing, making no attempt to notice you or interact with you.
Gotcha.
Are we sure it's okay to have left the Balar behind? They're a ticket out of here.
You make a very good point, Briar, but our alternative is to try and fight an army coming out of the beach or the ocean there, so don't know if it would have been good for us to stay.
Do you want to keep moving along towards the sort of central area of the island.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like yell out to the group. I don't see anything following us.
Okay.
That's family goods.
Yeah. Let's I guess we'll slow down to like not like a I guess we can like pause for a moment and catch our breath probably.
Okay.
I'm keeping a vigilant eye on the path that we came and just straining my vision as far as possible to see
Okay.
if there's anything on our trail.
Roll perception. And how long do you want to stay stationary?
I just want us to like have a moment to talk, I guess.
Okay.
Like figure out what we're doing.
Well, it's a nat 20 on my perception.
Okay. So Elwyn is keeping his gaze locked back in that pathway before you. What do you guys want to discuss here?
So we keep heading towards the big monster, the big
Well,
fuck
good.
off demon.
Well,
Concerned about Briar's point. If we
Crix
lose our
might have just
Baylors,
called the big fuck off demon to us.
also true.
Maybe he'll fuck off.
I don't think he will. If we lose our Baylors, we'll definitely be in big trouble. I don't know if they have a way to find us necessarily.
I feel like our path was already decided by them. If we didn't want to get off of them, then
I mean, their
well,
thought process
fuck.
could have been we stay and fight on the beach to take care of whatever was immediately after us, and then we keep moving from there.
What if we can find a spot that gives us a sight of the beach, but maybe gives us some elevation?
Elevation is usually good.
And we'll at least have a better idea of what the situation is. Maybe
Try
our
and get a lay of
Baylors
the
can
land.
see us. Yeah. That's what I propose, at least.
a solid plan.
So let's find higher ground that's not moving much further into the island.
So I'd say,
Do we see any suitable places?
yeah, I'd say following that and with your perception roll, you start to gaze around. The first thing you start to notice are shambling armored creatures slowly moving up the path. You start to make out those purple eyes, those orbs that you'd seen pushing up out of the water. You can just barely make out the shapes of these creatures as first you see one, then another sort of emerge at the very edge of your vision. They're moving the same pathway that you took. Far up above them, there is a cliffside. Sort of glancing around, you get the idea that if you continue moving forward and around the terrain to the left, you can like wrap around and get up to that cliff point. But as you're sort of mapping things out, you hear another like massive thud in that direction of something sort of landing and positioning up. Returning your gaze to the top of that point, you see a massive winged white tiger-like beast with some golden armored individual atop its back. It lands atop that cliffside, starts to gaze around. You see it lift its blade for a moment, and those shambling purple-eyed creatures stop and gaze up towards it. And it pushes its blade in a direction, and they all start shambling in that direction, which is directly towards you.
So not friends, definitely foe.
Yep, not friends.
We might have to put our little plan on hold. It looks like there's an army after us.
How large of an army?
How many do I spot?
You saw 4 or 5 in the time that you were watching, but you can assume there's more back there.
Well, I saw the first 5, but there's definitely more behind them. And whatever that warrior on that winged beast up there seems to be directing them. Sure, it has a visual on us.
I'd say it didn't seem to look at you or notice you at all, but it landed up there and scanned around. So it's obviously hunting.
Okay, so that thing is looking for us.
Do we cut off the head of the snake then?
I was about to ask that.
I mean, we can certainly try.
Send me in, coach.
I guess we can try and head up in that direction if we want.
You want to try and get up to that cliff?
Is there any feasible path that we can see from here?
Yeah, Elwyn, with your sort of observation and the distance that you can see, you can make out, like I said earlier, if you move up and sort of angle off to the left, it's likely you can get up there from that direction. You're not positive, but that's the best guess that you can
Okay.
sort of articulate from what you can see.
I'm going to point out that path for everyone and say we should head that way.
Tacitus, you've been quiet.
I don't have an in character response to that. Uh,
Probably be a snort.
yeah. Like, what was the proposed thing like in character? It was we strike at the thing.
Move up
Yeah.
along the cliff and move up to try and reach the top of that cliff and fight this creature that's this mounted creature that Elwyn spotted.
Basically, that army that's following us of weird skeletal creatures seems to be under the control of that thing on that winged beast up on that
Take
cliff.
advantage of the element of surprise while we have it, I suppose.
Yeah, ambush that thing, and we take out presumably their general.
Let's do it.
We might stand a better chance if we can do it. And if we can't, well, we'll worry about that later.
Do you all want to go up there and I kind of get tension down here? Because I can just simply get to you guys quickly later.
You're saying you want to stay here and be a distraction?
Well, if it stays up there and sends the army down this way, it'll leave it alone and give you guys an opportunity and can get to you quickly.
I don't think it knows where we specifically are yet.
But it's sending things. So
It knows where we were headed, but not where we are. If you want to stay in form of distraction, I trust you, but it's a risk that I don't think you have to take if you don't want to.
We still have the element of surprise right now.
right. Well, I wouldn't do anything until you guys rule first. I
All right.
figured Yep.
If you're certain you can get to us very quickly, I'd prefer if we all stayed together, but
He'll come
It's
up
up
with
to you.
something.
When do I not?
You always do.
All right, but we need to get moving quickly.
Let's go.
So,
If you
Crix,
get a good shot,
you-
take it.
you want to stay behind with this shambling force moving towards you?
I'm going to be moving ground level, but I'm going to be staying on ground level. I'm going to wait until they get up there.
So you want to follow? You want to move along with the party right now, but you want to break off at some point? Is what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
When we start heading upwards, you'll
When you
continue.
start heading up. Okay.
I'm basically going to play distraction on.
So I
ground
suppose
level.
when we veer left, like you were saying, Bird, I suppose.
Okay.
Chris will continue.
But you want to move up along the path right now with the party still, currently. You don't want to hold
little
position
bit,
where you
yeah.
are. Okay. All right. So the group, if you turn around, you want to move. You want to like run full speed. You want to continue just moving at a regular pace.
While we're still a good distance away, I say let's keep a good speed, and then as we're getting closer, we slow down.
We'll get stealthier as we get a little bit closer.
Yeah, exactly.
So as you reach the point where it sort of it curves in, you can follow a path that leads through some of these like very decayed ruins, with a lot of those like glazed over red-eyed souls shifting and shambling about. You see the sort of path that you would take. You would move continuing on and path your way to the left again and start moving up towards where that cliff would be located. But as you reach this point, you see off to the right-hand side some cloaked figure. You start to notice little green, sort of bluish green flames, little tiny, almost like tiny candles, just resting on the ground, following this creature. It's slowly sort of moving about, and in the time that you're approaching, you see it sort of reach through touch some of these shambling spirits, and they sort of dissipate into those little flames. All of those flames are linked to this cloaked individual via what almost looks like a tether. The same color as the flame, it's just more of a magical energy. It carries a staff that glows greenish blue as well, it seems to just be slowly moving around, collecting these souls. I give you an image of him roughly 90 feet away.
God.
I have an idea.
Yes, Crix.
Yes, Crix.
If this thing is touching these things and they get into those other things, I'm thinking get their attention and get them over here, and maybe this thing will maybe deal with them.
I don't know if they're the same manner of creature. I don't know if that will work like that.
Kind of shrugs.
Might be too risky. There's no saying what this thing will do to you if we get close to it. It might just take your soul instead. I'd say we avoid it entirely.
Okay. So stick to the plan then?
Is it in our path if we keep
It's,
moving this direction?
It's further off towards the island. I'd say as you're discussing it, you see that it has slowly sort of turned its gaze directly towards you.
Oh, did it
Oh.
see us?
It has no eyes, it has no face. The entirety of what's underneath that cloak, that hood, is that bluish energy. And it's all tethered to the small little flames that it has created by touching these soul-like creatures moving about the island. But it is just gazing at you. It's not moving aggressively at the moment.
Perhaps it heard me?
Perhaps. And don't take it as the type of creature to take action first, but I still say we steer clear of it.
Begins to slowly walk towards you.
Oh boy.
If it's gonna follow us, it's gonna follow us. I say we keep moving.
I guess that's fine. Let's go.
You want to run?
Is our path? So is the path where we're the part where we're veering off this path? Is it coming up soon?
Yeah, you could sort of just swing off to the left right now, and then basically make a U-turn, so to speak, move a little bit off, and then head towards the top of the cliff. So I start moving up as the terrain starts to angle up.
So I'll just point in that direction and start sprinting that way.
Full sprint. Everybody else?
Yeah, full sprint.
If he's sprinting,
If I see him running, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So as you turn, you run away. You're running for a minute or so. Crix, what are you doing? Because you wanted to.
I broke off at this point, probably.
Okay. What is broke off?
So where the group is going up, I'm staying ground level. So at this point, given that I'm kind of between a rock and a hard place, quote unquote, between the creatures, I'm probably trying to find somewhat of an open away from both.
That creature, the one with the sort of bluish flames, is still following you specifically if you did not follow the group.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. He's continuing to advance towards you. So do you want to move away from him?
Yeah,
Or-
I'm going to kind of keep my distance and be like, I don't know if you're friendly or not, but there's an army coming. There's lots of souls. If you want their souls, you could get them.
How close do you want to get to this thing? Or let it get to you?
I'm keeping at least 60 feet away from it.
Okay. It slowly advances towards you. Every now and then it reaches its arm out and touches another one of those sort of husk-like souls, and they dissipate into small little green flames that then tether to its face. But it still starts to move towards you. Its head tilts to the side every now and then, seems to be assessing you. Do you want to move? So there, you got two options. You move towards the shambling enemies that you know are there in the darkness. You can't see them, but you know they're approaching somewhere based on what Elwyn had told you. Or you can move further into the island away from this creature, past the cliffside.
Actually, they're not real creatures. Actually, I'm going to use an item I've had forever and a day. I have not used in this campaign yet.
Oh boy.
I'm going to reach into a pouch that's on my side. And I'm going to pull out a little fluffy ball. And I'm going to toss it in front of me. I'm pulling from a gray bag of tricks.
Okay.
A badger appears in front of me.
Okay.
And I just kind of look at the badger and look at the creature. I'm like, okay, I want you to go over to it.
So you just send the badger
Wow.
towards it.
Yes.
It completely ignores the badger. It sort of just walks past it and keeps approaching you.
Okay, I don't know if that's good or not.
Jesus.
Well, there goes my fucking idea.
It's a good try. It's a good try.
So,
Nah.
do you want to hold your position, let this thing approach you? Do you want to move towards the group of enemies that Elwyn notified? Do you want to move away further into the island past the hill that the party went up?
I just stare at this thing. Can I make some kind of knowledge check to see if maybe I know what it is?
Yeah, what do you want to roll?
I feel like this is gonna fit into religion.
Go ahead.
19.
So, knowing what you do of where you are, and you've heard stories of a Theros, the god of passage, a creature that ferries souls of the dead into the underworld. You get the sense that the energy pulsing from this creature reminds you of sort of the color and the light that you'd seen in temples dedicated to a Theros. And I'd say you can safely assume, while not being the god himself, this is something linked to a Theros or linked to something that shepherds souls along this way, possibly an emissary.
I, for a split second, kind of stand my ground and I point to myself and I just kind of say very loudly, I am not dead. I am still alive. I am not a soul. I am Suminion, a servant of Theros. I just want to see if I get a reaction saying the name.
It glows a bit brighter, and you see its staff glow for a moment. It stops approaching you at about 30 feet. It stands there and stares at you for a moment. You sort of like you're looking directly into that bluish energy underneath its cloak,
Okay.
and you feel a presence attempt to link with your mind. Do you allow it? Do you try to resist it?
Nice. Oh, nice.
I have the bow in my left hand and I stand there and okay. I'll allow it.
Okay. You, for a moment, feel very cold, but not like there's no pain. Like you feel almost like you're being read by this thing. And you finally, for a moment, hear a voice inside your head, a very like hushed whisper, like, "You are neither one thing nor another. Why are you here?"
You sees there is this crazy person that brought us down into this realm of God. I got the name of it somewhere.
Agonis?
Narona.
Oh, Nerona. Okay, that's the original place you ended up. Yep.
Yeah. Over times, we've gone from realm to realm of the, I don't know, Arabos, Mari, Malkal. Right now, we're trying to find our way back home as well to friends. And as far as I know, these gods are kind of screwing with us very hard right now. Matter of fact, one is hunting us.
Rich just starts giving a life story.
It begins to walk towards you again. I'd say you don't sense any malice from this creature.
I'll stand there.
Okay.
I'll literally just straight out ask too. I don't know. Are your friends are full?
It's it moves within 5 feet from you. Stops. As it passes by, it glazes its hand over another of those souls that turn into a small little blue flame that tethered to its face once again, never once taking its eyes off of you. But it stops in front of you, it doesn't reach for you, anything of that nature. For a moment, it looks about, sort of looks past you, looks up into the sky as well. It's as if it's deep in some sort of thought, and you see the staff glow very brightly, almost to the point that it like blinds you. You have to cover your eyes to keep from the pain of just the searing light from this thing. But it's a very unnatural light. It's that same greenish blue glow that you see emitting from the rest of its body. The light dissipates after a few moments, and it again sort of reaches into your mind, and you get that same whisper from the creature. It says, "My master would allow you passage. You do not belong here. Should you have payment?"
What is payment?
I'd say what you understand of a Theros is that it's sort of like a coin for the ferryman type of situation. People, as they're preparing for death or preparing to meet with a Theros to begin their journeys on, will often have things. So it's not exactly like financial. It could just be like, a shell, something meaningful, something important to the person that they wish to bestow upon a Theros. It's more of like a preparation sort of a thing, like a respectful gesture. You could assume that's what this creature is asking of you at the moment. Say with your decent religion roll.
Okay. I will reach into my back, like I'm going to grab a coin for a second, and then look at it and just. There are others on this island right now that do not belong as well. Can they come?
It's again, you see that glow from the staff as it looks about the rest of the island. I sense them. They must provide payments as well.
They will. I promise. I'm gonna reach into the bag and pull out a platinum coin. And I'll put it in its hands.
Okay, we're gonna pause you for a moment. The rest of the party, you're rushing up that hill as fast as you can, sprinting. Crick's having fallen behind. You lose sight of the creature and all the situation, but you're moving up along the hill. There's a varied amount of ruins alongside of you as you pass through. There's no real pathing or anything of the ways. There's just sort of spaces between ruin that you can pass through in between. You see a lot more of those sort of melting creatures as you reach the top of this cliff point. Once you get within about 120 feet or so, Elwyn, you can make out the back of that mounted creature. It shifts about every now and then. The individual on the back of this mount is also gazing about, obviously searching for something, but it has its back to the party at the moment.
Yeah, definitely stopping. Like once they see it, I'll just gesture to the other two to stop as well.
Okay.
And sort of like crouching down, out of the way a little bit.
Yeah, hide with him.
Yeah, and then I'm just gonna look to Tacitus and Briar and say, "All right, it's ahead of us, 120 feet. What's our plan?" I can strike it from here with my spells.
Tacitus and I would need to get closer to be of any use. We should see if we can get closer to get a surprise attack off.
Yes, we could do this. I'm trying to see. Do I spot a way that we could sneak up on this thing? Does it seem like there's? Is it just an open clearing, or?
There's
I
a
would be
number
looking
of
for the same thing.
there's a number of ruin structures that you could move between, spot by spot, if you wanted to try and stealth up, get close to it.
Okay. I look back to Briar and Tacitus and just say, "Okay, we can try and sneak up on it. I see some possible paths. We'll just have to be as quiet as possible."
Yeah,
That's the plan.
that's the plan.
Okay. So, Elwyn, you're staying back, or are you stealthing
No,
up with them?
I'm gonna stealth up with them.
I would like to
Nail it.
stealth separately from them.
Why would you do this to us?
Because we're splitting the party.
You're supposed to carry our group roles, Briar.
That's not how that works.
So I'd say, Briar, if you want to move away and be away from them, you can move off on the right-hand side, and they can move on the left, or vice versa.
Okay.
So you want to shift right?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So we'll have you go first. Go ahead and roll stealth.
19.
Okay. So you shift across the pathway and use your movement to sort of duck in between a couple of these ruined points and move forward. You're still a good 90 feet away from the creatures. So Elwyn and Tacitus, the two of you are stealthing together.
I guess.
I suppose we are.
Go ahead and roll.
Actually, I might stealth separately as well.
Wow.
So I thought of an idea.
You'd have to sort of hold back then and wait a turn if you want to separate. There's not a whole lot of room for you guys to duck and cover.
Right. What I was thinking is, I believe I still have flight left, so I can probably just zip around the cliff and pop up that way.
Like,
That was the,
okay, if that's what you want to do, you can try it.
like, I don't know if that made sense. Like, just flying like below the cliff level, but like around it.
Yeah, I
out of
understand
the-
what you mean. You want to like pop off and stay below the cliff on the left side and get up in front
Yeah.
of it.
Well, the plan is while the other two are stealthing towards him from his back,
Mhm.
I'll pop up in front of him.
Okay.
Roughly at the moment they pop up behind him, so that like his attention is suddenly split.
Okay, I'd say you'd still have to roll. You'd still have to roll a stealth to like take off and get below that cliff point. Because at that point, you'd be putting yourself in his visual range.
Yeah, but that's the plan. I want to just like suddenly appear in his visual range when the time comes when the other two are behind.
Okay, so yeah, roll your stealth and Tacitus. Did you roll?
I got a 15
Okay.
with disadvantage.
Okay, my stealth is 18.
Okay. Tacitus, as you move forward, the gaze of the creature shifts very quickly in your direction. Doesn't seem like it spotted you, but it seems a bit more aware. Elwyn, you're just barely able to get your wings up and get out below the cliff as it turns its gaze in that direction.
Sick.
Briar.
19. Reliable talent's really saving my ass right now.
Yeah, so you're able to shift pretty quietly again up through. You get another 30 feet within range, putting you about 60 feet from the creature now. You watched it sort of whip and look in the direction of Tacitus. And speaking of Tacitus, stealth for me, please.
Oh, stealth? Sorry.
Yes. Yep, you're good. If you want to keep getting closer.
You got this, Tacitus, I believe.
11.
Oh,
Believe harder.
oh god.
How
So
far away am I from it?
you're pushing up to within 60 feet of it on this move. You started 90 feet. So, but as you're pushing up, like it was gazing in your direction already, and it seems to have taken notice. It immediately draws a blade, and you hear a guttural sort of growl from the mount as it gives some sort of a like hushed, whispered command to the creature, and it moves off and starts lumbering through the ruins, sort of climbing over them towards you.
Okay. If I notice it coming at me, I'm just gonna fucking charge straight at it then. Try
Okay.
and grab its attention.
Okay, so you're gonna pop out and rush it.
Yeah.
Okay. Immediately, the creature, this sort of like saber-tooth like creature, this winged creature, growls and throws spittle all off in your direction as the individual mounting it stands on its back and draws a blade and sort of whips the reins and charges at you in return. Briar, you want to do anything at this moment, or Elwyn?
I would love to get a sneak attack in as it
You want to rush
is
it from
going
behind?
for Tacitus.
Okay, so Briar pops up.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, could I have done an action while I was flying underneath the cliff?
Not yet. No. Now you can do a reaction now. It's because this sort of it happened with Tacitus after you ducked down below.
Okay, all right.
But you would have heard the commotion above now, so you know that stealth has failed.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess what I'll do is cast Investiture of Stone on myself.
Okay, but do you want to fly up and join, or do you want to stay where you are?
I'm going to do something a little bit different. After I cast Investiture of Stone on myself, I'm going to fly through the cliff and then pop up right behind the dude.
Okay.
Because it allows me to move through Earth as if it was air.
Sure. Yeah. So you want to fly into it and then straight up?
Just like pop up right behind Golden Dude.
Okay. All right. So Briar pops out, rushes from behind. Elwyn dives into the cliff, and Tacitus is charged head on against this creature. Pause, you guys. Back to Crix.
Oh no!
So the creature itself, you as you're sort of speaking with it, you hear the roar of that encounter going on behind you. So you know that your party is likely now engaged with the thing that they were hunting.
Oh fuck.
Life or death combat up here.
So about those friends I have, they're up there.
It gives like almost a hesitant growl. Do you have a request of my master?
Well, we were trying to cross this river of souls and whatnot. We would like to complete our mission there and get across this damn thing. So if me and my friends can get across safely, that'd be very nice.
Pray.
Did you say pray?
Pray.
All right, fine. I'll praise. What's it doing?
It's just staring at you. Like, it has no face. It's just that bluish, mystical energy. And it has hundreds of those tethers sort of sprouting out as it stared at you. But it's just staring at you, waiting for your prayer of request.
Please, Almighty God of Talos, right?
You say God of Tunnels?
What was the name of the god?
Tunnels.
I said Talos.
Oh, Talos? It is.
Yeah.
His name is Athreus.
Atreus, sorry.
Yeah, I'll type it in the chat.
My Atreus, please help me and my friends in need and help us get across the rest of the way of the river towards the living end. Please.
All right, let's roll.
Please help a lowly servant of the Lady of Luck.
Roll persuasion.
Oh, fuck me. Persuasion 16.
The creature for a moment just stares blankly at you. Let's let you finish your prayer. You see it look up into the sky, and
Stares blankly is a good pun.
It gives another glow of its staff as it's gazing up into the sky, almost. It looks back at you, and you see several tethers begin to sprout from its face and pass around you, almost into you, but they pass around you and then dip into the ground. Back to the party.
Yeah.
So, Tacitus, you're the first one to sort of engage here. This creature is just howling at you. You're both going to make attacks at each other. So go ahead and roll your 2 attacks with your axe, I assume.
Yeah. I want to leap at the dude, not the lion.
Do you want to try and get up above the lion's face? Okay. Give me an acrobatics roll before you attack then.
That's a 24.
24 acrobatics? Okay. Roll 2 attacks. If that's your intention, it's just to swing your axe at him. Yep.
That's a 24 to hit.
Okay.
And 27 plus 8, that's 35 plus the d8.
Hits.
That's 35 damage and then
35 damage.
damage.
Okay.
Yeah. and then 3 radiant damage. And then the second one is at 6, so that's a 30 to hit.
Okay.
And that's 17 plus 25 plus the radiant, another 8, so 25 damage and then 8 radiant damage.
Okay.
And I would like also, when that's happening, to expand one of my 3rd level spell slots to use a... where is it? One of my divine smites.
Okay.
So this is 4d8. Is this either undead or fiend?
Neither.
And that's an extra 23 radiant damage.
Okay. And is that it?
Yep.
Okay, so it's going to use one of its legendary actions.
Oh boy.
It takes the damage. You strike across its armor, and you notice its armor glows as you make contact with it. The creature itself has no face. It's just a helmet with just a black void behind. And as you get close to this creature, you can clearly see it. It takes the damage, doesn't even try to resist, takes the full damage, the brunt of the beating. At the end of it, reaches its arm up, it just grasps your throat. Holds you in place, and you immediately feel a massive burst, almost equal to the amount of damage that you put in. All of that force flows back out of the armor directly into you, as he simultaneously tosses you to the ground in front.
How much damage do I take?
You take
like 90.
63 points of damage.
Okay.
This was a bad idea.
The creature then snaps at you twice with its jaws as you hit the ground in front of it.
Oh god, don't die on us.
Well, I'm down to 15 health.
You take 14 points of damage.
Oh my god!
Oh my god!
Wow.
I do the anime thing where like blood sputters out of my like mouth.
14 points. Briar. So you're at 1 HP. Tacitus. Briar, what's your... You want a sneak attack?
Yeah, I sure do.
Okay.
This
I mean,
is
I
bad.
think she was leaping at this.
Yeah, she was leaping at it. Yeah, you don't have a choice. Yeah.
Like,
You already called your actions. Yep.
And I was also going for the dude, not the beast.
Oh, so you're going to have to acrobatics as well if you want to leap up into the air over the creature and get to the back.
Yeah, should have came with me.
Do I want to? Yeah, I'll stick with it. 18 acrobatics.
Okay, so yeah, you hop up onto the back of the creature just as Tacitus is thrown forward, and you can hear him getting mauled by the mount.
Neat. And do I have advantage?
You do.
is it a good thing? Probably
Yeah.
not.
Well, they use their legendary action, so we'll hope that they can't use another one on the exact same turn. If they can, I am fucked. But that is 32 to hit.
Okay.
And I have both of the daggers out.
Okay,
now.
so you attack 4 times.
Oh, I attack 4 times. Do I roll 4 times?
Yes, 4 individual
Okay.
attacks.
I'm gonna quick just write my dice rolls. And boy, advantage sure is nice. Okay. So plus 15 to all of those. I'm assuming they all hit, and then there's a crit.
Means you roll any ones, or like...
Yeah, no, 17, 20, and 19, and 13.
Okay.
Yeah. So the lowest one there is a 28.
Okay.
And
So it's
so
4d6.
what's the damage? 46 per attack.
Yep.
Okay.
If this gets reflected back into you, you're like hyper dead.
Yeah, no, I'm probably like one shot KO'd. Like there's no
100%.
reviving me.
Oh Lord.
Okay.
Tacitus, you're like one hit from that. That's concerning.
That's
What do you mean one hit? I'm literally at 1 hit point.
that is in fact the definition of one hit from dead.
so
I can heal you. I just need to like.
I'm dead at this point.
I can heal you, but I need
19
to get to you first.
You said 19?
19 damage for the first hit.
One shot him, Briar. You can do it.
Be more specific when you say him.
Not Tacitus.
Ooh, that's and okay. So those are the damage for each of them. Then 19, 23, 14, and 16.
Okay.
That's 30. That's 49. That's 52. That's 72. I think.
Cool. Cool.
Yep. Okay.
Oh, math.
So you hop up onto the back, you strike him 4 times with those blades. Each strike, again, you notice those petals sort of spray forth, and they deal additional damage. Anything else?
Can I use my bonus action to disengage?
You can.
Yeah, bonus action disengage.
And you want to
Flip
hop back
flip
off the back?
Yeah.
Okay. You probably just saved your life. Because
Yikes.
the legendary action was the grapple that held you in place, Tacitus. The armor itself, on each
That wasn't
point that
good.
you made contact, you notice that the armor like glowed and absorbed the attacks. The creature itself, like it looked like it took damage, like it looked hurt and harmed, but the armor was absorbing, and it gives off a pulse of energy that you feel very ferociously as you disengage and backflip off the mount and avoid the full blast of it. But it is a blinding force that throws you a few feet further than you would have been. You would have landed
Oh, God.
by your normal projection.
Okay.
Uh,
And so, am I taking any damage?
No, you don't take any damage. You, with your disengage and you're pushing back off, you're successfully able to avoid. I'm not going to have you roll acrobatics. You rolled well enough on the first one that you can sink it in the same move.
Sounds
The animal, though, the mount, is going to pop off a legendary action.
Oh, that's good.
Yep, that's very good.
No, Lord. This is not great.
It swings around and it takes 2 swings with its tail, and the edge of its tail is razor sharp, like almost a level of a blade. At a 24 and a 26. 2 hits against you.
Yep.
So you avoid the full blast of that armored attack, and you realize you just came in like an inch from getting obliterated. Because that might have been twice your hit points, which would have immediately...
It wasn't. So, oh wait, does it double it?
The damage that blast did.
If you had got hit by his armor exploding.
It would have almost murdered you. But
yeah. Because
so
I have 61. It was only 72. It's not double.
Yeah. So you take 36 points of damage as the 2 slashes from the tail hit you in the chest, throw you back.
Can I uncanny dodge that one?
You can.
And so you said 36?
Yes.
Okay, divide by 2.
So, Elwyn, at this point, you pop out from underneath the cliff. You have not seen any of this so far. You pop out just as Briars is getting slashed across the chest with the tail, and you see Tacitus off to the side, pretty fucked up, with the jaws of this creature looming over him.
Okay, so I come out of the earth and I take a quick glance at the situation. Immediate instinct is to run. So
Do you?
Trying to think here. Shit, do I fight? Do I run? I'm gonna roll for it. If I get hit by his armor thing, I'm going to die. Elwyn doesn't know
but
this.
you don't know about the
but
armor thing. Yeah, you have no idea
Elwyn
because
doesn't know.
you did not witness any of this.
Elwyn is not aware of this information. I, however, am. So I need to roll to decide what the hell he's gonna do. Okay, well, that is interesting. That is interesting indeed.
What's your move, Ella?
Oh God. Well, I take my greatsword out.
Okay.
Elwyn is shaking in his boots. I'm going to. I might as well try this. I don't know if it's gonna work. Is the armored dude and his beast within 15 feet of me?
Yeah, you popped out within 5 of it, so you're in.
And then are my friends also within 15 feet of me, or have they been knocked back a little further?
They are within 15 feet of you, yes.
Is Tacitus standing or is he prone?
Proud.
Prone. Okay. Briar is how far exactly from me?
Just 5 feet behind you.
5 feet behind me?
Yes.
Okay, now I guess the point of this is there a way I can get this man and his beast within a 15-foot radius centered on me, but not get Briar in it?
Yeah, you can angle it up, I'd say. So you can fire the cone from a point and fire it up, so you'd hit the top of the creature and the guy in the back.
It's not a cone, it's an
It's
earthquake.
not a cone. Oh, Jesus. No.
Well, that's what I was trying
Absolutely
to say.
Oh, Jesus,
And
no.
It is an earthquake that is a 15-foot radius centered on me, right? So it's a circle that is not very large. It's a small earthquake, but surrounding me.
Yeah, there's no way that you can do that from the positions that everybody's in and where you are.
Because, like, if I were to go 5 feet on his other side away from Briar,
Tacitus is underneath the mouth of the mount.
Tacitus is fine. Tacitus can get caught and he's already prone. It's the other.
It's
Briar who I want.
It doesn't do damage?
No, it just knocks them prone. So, well, they have to do a dex saving throw. But I want to see if I can get this armored dude, prone.
But it doesn't. What's the spell that you want to use? First,
it's a feature of my Investiture of Earth, Investiture of Stone. What it says is, I can use my action to create a small earthquake on the ground in a 15-foot radius centered on me. Other creatures on that ground must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or be knocked prone.
Okay. Yeah. You can center it away from Briar. Tacitus is going to get caught in it.
Yeah, the reason why I don't mind Tacitus getting caught in it is because it doesn't do damage. It's just, and Tacitus is already prone, so there wouldn't be a chance of Tacitus getting knocked prone again. So
I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to do.
Earthquakes are dangerous. But yeah, I'll leave it up to you.
It's a small earthquake.
It's a small earthquake, yeah.
With no damage assigned to it. Alternatively, I could just shoot. Alright, fuck it. I'm just gonna pull out my greatsword and try and attack this man with it.
Okay.
I don't fully know what this greatsword does, but I'm gonna swing it. What do I roll for this thing? Is it just a?
It's d20, and it is +6 to hit on top of your standard bonuses.
+6 to hit on top of my standard bonuses?
Yes.
What would my standard bonuses be here?
Whatever your standard bonus for a melee attack is, so your strength.
Well, Warlock, do you have Charisma as your bonus?
Oh, that's right, you're Warlock, yeah. For whatever your bonus is for your melee attacks. I don't know,
Like if we were to swing with Oath, what would you use?
yeah. I think it's Charisma, but I'm not 100% on that. I can look it up if you need me to.
Unclear to me right now.
One sec.
I mean, you took the Pact of the
Because
Blade,
my
right?
like my weapon is my pack
Yeah,
weapon.
so it's Charisma plus your proficiency bonus.
Okay.
+6.
Okay, because right now when I have a melee weapon on, D&D Beyond just says +6 total, which is not my charisma. That's my, I don't know what that is. That's got to be my dexterity plus my proficiency bonus, is what it's calculating. So I don't really know. But if we want to say charisma, then I can go with charisma.
Well,
Let's
for now, just roll a d20 and tell me what you get. And if we have to, yeah. So we don't care right now. We'll find out afterwards. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a hit.
Okay.
But
What do I roll
we'll
for
delve into
damage
that.
now?
And we'll get a definitive answer for you.
Is it a d6 for damage?
For your blade, it is 3d10
D10. Okay.
plus 5.
3d10 plus 5. All right. That's going to be 6 plus 8 plus 7 plus 5. So, wow, I can't do basic math apparently.
I didn't hear what your numbers were. What were they?
6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 5. 26 total.
Perfect. Okay. So you pop up, full wingspan, push in, strike at this guy twice with your greatsword. The armor glows at this point, but it's not, like, from where you're standing, Briar, it's not as bright as a glow as it had before. It seems to be as if it's run its course, at least mostly. But it takes the damage, and it does spit a bit back at you, Elwyn. Glows a bit with a response, and you get thrust with a burst of energy. As this is happening, Tacitus, you feel yourself grasped by something, and your vision fades, and you just almost blink out of existence for a moment.
Okay.
You're not exactly sure if you just died. It sure fucking feels like death. Briar, from your perspective, you saw Tacitus sort of get wrapped by a bluish-green tether-like energy, and then disappear, leaving behind a small green flame on the ground where he was. As that happens, you feel the same thing wrap around your ankle. Looking down, your vision also blacks completely. Elwyn, as you're about to receive the force of this blast to your face from the armor, you're sort of staring at the energy about to whip, and this creature itself is spinning around to attack at you with its blade. You also feel some energy wrap around your waist, and your vision blacks. The group of you, Crix, you're standing with this creature. You've just finished your prayer, and Tacitus thrusts from the air, hits the ground in front of you, a bloody mess. And a moment later, Briar is dropped to the ground next to you as well, with Elwyn. A couple moments after that, Elwyn looks petrified.
I know. I know you guys said do not go near the skeleton. It could be bad, but I did a thing.
Crix, I don't know what you did, but thank all of the gods that you did. Do I have a moment to touch Tacitus?
Yes, Tacitus is probably petrified on the ground. What do you do with Tacitus?
Well,
I'm like-
You're
I
not
think
sure
if
if
I
you're
thought
alive
I-
at this point.
Am I facing like the sky, or am
Yes.
I facing like the ground?
It drops you on your back, so you're just staring up. And you're basically at the feet of that creature, that's emissary of Theros. And Crix is in a very prayer-like stance above you. And a moment after you appeared and dropped into this, Briar and Elwyn on the opposite sides of you appeared as well.
Honestly, I feel like at 1 hit point, I don't know if I have the energy to do anything.
I'm gonna touch Tassus' shoulder and give you back 13 hit points.
I'm seeing that you guys are back and seeing how woundly you are. I'm going to immediately turn and cast a 3rd level heal spell. I already did the roll. It's 20.
So that's 13 and then 20.
30
healing for you, Tassus.
Cool, that restored like, I don't know, half of what I got hit by.
Yeah.
The rest of you, the creature is sort of just looking at you from one to the other, and you hear all of you in your minds. Well, I'd say first, you feel it try to enter your mind, all of you. Do you try to resist?
At this point, no. Nothing left to resist in me.
Yeah, Tassus, you probably don't have
Tassus
the
has
wherewithal to.
resist.
Yeah, Briar.
Since Crix is with it, no, I'm not.
Okay. So all of you simultaneously here provide payment.
Payment for what?
Immediately look to Crix and say, "What is he talking about?"
So this is, I guess, a servant of Aethos, the god of the passage of the underworld. Just give them a coin. They're going to bring us to the human side because we do not belong here.
Fine with me. I whip out
Don't
a
be
gold
cheap.
coin.
Don't be an ass.
I don't even have more than 10 gold. What do you mean?
Payment again. I'd say at least the group of you would know, having experienced death on Theros at some level. It doesn't have to be a coin. It doesn't have to be money. Just like a meaningful, something important. Like, so if money is important to you, then money works. But
I'm gonna hand it a like sort of like worn dagger that I have carried with me for a lot of my adventures, and I give that to it as payment. More of a sentimental person, Elwyn is, so.
I guess. I guess I'll feel healthy enough to do it. Yeah, I'll take the glaive that I was using and give it over.
okay. Do you just reach up from the ground, or are you staying laying there, or are you standing up?
I like kneel, I guess, like get up from kneeling.
Okay. As he takes your items, they sort of dissipate in that bluish green flame, the same as the tethered souls. And Briar?
So out of character question.
Mhm.
From meta knowledge, I know that Ripley had like a coin thing that said, "Hey, you're one of ours." Would Briar have
Yes.
that?
You would.
I'll give them that.
Wow, okay. Takes it fizzles out, disappears with the energy. For a moment, there's nothing. The creature looks up into the air again, and that staff begins to glow very brightly. After a moment, you all hear the same whispered response into your mind. My master accepts. He shifts off to the side and points with his staff down the pathway that he had come from, and you see the pathway lined with those little green, bluish flames of those souls that he had collected. Follow the pathway. You will find a ruin in a vessel. Board the vessel.
Yeah, let's go.
I am so happy there's at least one god on here that is not a fucking asshole. Thank you, Aethos.
Do you all get up and move down that pathway?
Yep.
Yeah.
Rather quickly.
With haste.
Okay. The creature stands and watches you for a moment as you move, and then turns around and continues on his pathway, collecting souls. You move off into the darkness, following this path of green flame, and we'll end it there for the night.
All right.
Well, that was something.
Don't talk to the scouts and cricks. It could be bad.
We've all learned a valuable
We
lesson here
said
today.
don't. I think we just said we're
Do
not
not.
going to.
In Crix we trust.
Yeah, Chris is
I mean, honestly, yeah.
If you had all ignored him and gone straight into that fight, I don't know how that would have turned out.
We probably would have died. Probably would have been a party wipe.
His armor was pretty much used up, but man, you threw so much at him in that first volley.
I have to take
Literally
a
annihilated Tassus as well. One
I
shot.
feel like it's less funny if you don't go through the link and see what it says.
Correct. The music is much better, but I'd assume at least a few of us already clicked it.
Well, good job. I'm glad we're back into
Bird
it.
was probably sitting there the whole time, like, "Oh no, these fools! Why are
Yep.
they going this way?"
Yep, I did not. I mean, of all the expectations I have of you guys, it's not that you're going to approach the biggest, baddest enemy that you see.
It certainly was our what we did.
But no,
Everyone
it was
probably
good.
got a big head from the weapon and was like, "Yeah, we can do this."
Bro, like we've been doing the thing in this round of fighting. We're pretty good right now.
Yep.
And it's fucking.
I need one of those always saying Philadelphia's, but need to have it say Crix did a thing.
That was a good session.
Well, somehow we lived through it thanks to Crix.
Yeah, and you've paid off the God of Passage, and we'll see how it progresses.
Don't know how that prayer was accepted, but
Just barely. Just barely.
As Crix forgets the name of the god, calls him something else.
The God of Tunnels inspired. You were
He
about to
cleared
get
his
sent in the
ears after
opposite
that.
direction.
He's ready to smite you.
Oh man.
I feel
Hey.
like what I was expecting Elwyn to do is what was that one thing that you got recently where it's like we can go into like the sword?
Oh, the
Nope,
vessel. Yeah.
Yeah. I was expecting that. Like, oh, we just get yoinked out of like wherever we're at for like a few moments while this thing is just above us still.
I forgot about my vessel, to be honest. Mostly because the last couple of times I've been in there, it was less than pleasant. I don't know what state it's in currently.
You absolutely
Yeah,
don't
but
know what state it's in right now. For sure.
Yeah, I would say of any situation that would convince us to agree to go in there, that
This
was
would probably be it, yeah.
it.
Sorry,
Yeah.
that was right at that moment.
Yeah, me taking 74 damage instantly.
Absolutely insane.
When you took that damage and I'm like split from the party, I'm just like,
Well,
I
I'm
was
good.
I
I'm
was
good where I'm at.
visibly cringing as you were reading me your damage numbers.
You're just like, yeah, this is good damage. Bird's like, no, stop.
I thought you were going to attack the mount. The second you said you wanted to hop up and attack the guy, I was like, oh, fuck.
fuck.
It's funny because from Elvin's perspective, he came out of the ground expecting you two to be like attacking him, and he saw such a
We're just,
wild
like,
situation.
It's just like the fucking Family Guy, like, what is it, like lying dead in the street, like.
He pops out of the ground and Tass is like near dead. Briar's like further back than expected. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, you literally saved your own life by that disengage. That would have been ugly. You would have been unconscious for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Well-
it was 11 more hit points than I had.
Yeah.
Yikes.
It's there's an amplification to it as well that I roll for, so it could have done additional damage, but not
Could've been
enough.
worse.
Not enough to like I think one shot you, but it would have been. It could have potentially been very ugly.
Yep. Well, we made it. Thank
It was
you,
good.
Crix.
I'm gonna end the stream here. That was great.